All right, 3, 2, 1.
What is going on, Reptile Army?
Boom.
I appreciate you guys. Of course, we've got Peter Birch in the house from CrittaCam, all the way from Australia.
Australia, mate.
Australia, a bloody oath, mate. We got Jay on the board over here.
Guys?
We're going to be, let's see, I'm going to break down what we're going to be doing today, right?
What are we doing?
We're going to start by talking about Animal Con because, of course, Peter flew in from Australia all the way here to be with us at Animal Con as well as here. We're going to talk a little bit about our adventures that we've had together, in Africa and Australia. What's next? We're going to talk a little bit about the Australian reptile market.
Ooh, yeah.
And then we're going to drop a big announcement at the end about Australia.
Look out.
And
Heads
us. So heads up. So that's going to be the outlay for today. So for those of you guys that are interested, that is it.
Yeah, hit us with those super chats too, guys, down below.
Please. Yep, hit the super chat so that we can. Someone complained about that the last podcast.
Well,
they said that
why wouldn't
we're
they?
begging. We're begging for supers, man.
Yeah, holler at us.
And we are begging for supers. Of course we are. But
and the last one,
you
we
know.
were exhausted, so we didn't know what to talk about. You know what I'm saying? So
but,
it helps when you talk with us.
Yeah, and it's nice. Listen, we always love to hear from you guys, and obviously want you to be part of the conversation and super chats. Not to mention, it does support us, so we appreciate the support. And by no means am I groveling and begging for money. Because that's not the case, but we do appreciate all the support. It does cost money to put the podcast on. It costs money to make this studio, and your super chats help. Speaking of super chats, we've got Becky in the house.
She says, "I've been waiting all day for this podcast." You've been waiting weeks.
I know
for this
it
podcast.
seems like it's been
Weeks?
has it been a couple weeks?
Because we didn't do one before we left last
I think
time.
it's been 3 weeks ago. Nice. So first off, welcome to the podcast, Peter.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So obviously, Peter and I have been friends for a long time. First time I met you was in Australia.
Yes.
I went down there for the Easter show in Homebush.
Yes.
Now, is it still? There's not that show, but where's it at now?
Not that show. That was a wild expo show that was run at the Sydney Easter Show complex.
Ah, gotcha.
So, and I think that was about 2008, 2009.
Yeah, something on that.
So we've known each other probably at least 3 weeks now.
But yeah, a few weeks.
So,
and I'm already sick of you. Very much
get
so.
out of here.
Can't wait to get rid of me. Yeah, I understand.
I wanted to bump the flight up from tomorrow to today if it was all possible.
20 minutes.
I was calling the freaking airlines. Is there any way we could bump this flight up an extra day? No, but it's cool. So yeah, I went to the show. Didn't know anyone in Australia. It was actually, I'll tell the story really quick. Is that I got reached out by a guy named Anthony Simpson.
Yep.
And he reached out and said, "Hey, I put on this reptile show." And I think it was one of his guys. Do you remember who it was? Like one of the guys that worked with him that like watched snake bites. Do you know who that was?
That probably was Chris Williams.
Yeah, Chris Williams.
Yes,
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. So Chris Williams told Anthony, and of course to get my ego in check, he said, "I'd never heard of you before." And he said, but Chris really loves your stuff, and we wanted an international speaker. And it's actually kind of funny. So they flew us, Lori and myself, into to Sydney. We stayed the first 3 days in Darling Harbour at Anthony. Beautiful Darling Harbour. Seriously, really beautiful place. And it was at Anthony Stimson's, or Simpsons or Stimson's? Stimson's. Okay, so Anthony Simpson's like condo or whatever, timeshare, whatever it was. Didn't know a person in Australia at the time. So Lori and I spent the first 3 days just meandering around Sydney. It was really cool. Went to the Opera House, Botanical Gardens, walked all over the place, just kind of got the lay of the land. It was really quite amazing. And then they just still had never talked to an Australian. I mean, that I knew.
That's the way we like it.
Yeah, I mean, I got there. No one ever contacted me. No one said, "Hey, did you make it okay?" Nothing. Just, at 9 in the morning, I had an email like 9 in the morning, we're going to have a car pick you up and drive you to Homebush. And so, again, hadn't talked to anyone. Drove to Homebush. It's about how I can't remember. It's 2.5 hours, 3 hours. What was it?
Oh, it's probably an hour.
Oh, but it's
probably just over an hour, but depending on traffic, time of day and all that.
And it might have felt like 3 hours because I don't remember correct. But we got there and that's where I met you. You had a booth at the show.
Yep.
And I met a whole bunch of other people. But immediately, me and you hit it off great, and we became friends ever since, and have done some great stuff. More on that later. So Animal Con, what'd you think, man?
It wasn't bad. No, it was absolutely amazing, and it was a great opportunity for an influencer like myself, probably right down on the food scale, to meet other influencers, much further up. And I mean, you see these guys, you see what they put out there, and I watch a lot of these other guys also, because we all support each other.
Sure.
But to actually meet them face to face, it's like a handshake. You sort of,
Yeah. Well, it was cool too, right? Because, you
awesome.
had a lot of big personalities in that room, and don't get me wrong, the panels sometimes those personalities came out, like there was a little bit of a fight for the microphone here and there, but not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
No, not at all.
Every now and then you would get someone that would be a little long-winded, maybe talk, there's 8 people on the panel and it's a 45-minute panel and one question would be 7 minutes, 8 minutes of, rambling about something or other.
Definitely.
But for the most part, people were pretty good about,
it was pretty pro.
about doing things. But all these big personalities were very down to earth.
Yes.
And many of them I hadn't met before.
Right,
I talked to on the phone, obviously, because I was the one that was getting it. But I was fans of everybody as well. I'd been watching many of the people for many years. And so I was really happy to see how not only down to earth they were with me, but they were with everybody, right?
Yes. Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, I was fangirling a little bit, to see some of these guys that I've never seen before. In person, and then when you go and talk to them, they're like, "Oh, I watch your stuff," and it's like, "What? Really? This is weird," So for me, it was really weird as well that they're watching my stuff as much as I'm watching their stuff.
Yeah.
So everyone's supporting each other, and we don't even really know it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And like you said, everyone's just so open and honest, and giving of their time.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made such a great event.
Yeah, and listen, it was a first-time event, so let's just hit a couple supers really quick, because I know we just got a couple.
Supers.
We'll keep them going so we don't get too far on, and go from there.
Clistia says, I really missed you guys. Much love, Brian and Jay.
It's good to be back, Clistia. I know Clistia, I know Clistia said that she's going to try to make it down to Animal Con next year. I sure hope you will. Now that we've got the inaugural event, we'll talk more about that as we go here down. I think the next year is going to be a lot different.
Yeah, it's just going to continue to grow.
Yeah.
Logan says, Animal Con was awesome. Can't wait till next year. It's great meeting you, Logan.
Yeah, it's awesome, Logan. Thank you so much for coming and supporting. And that was, I think, the overall consensus was that people were like, I'll see you next year. I mean, I didn't talk to one creator that said they weren't coming back. Every creator I talked to said they were coming back. We'll certainly add a lot more creators. At the very end, there were, I'd say in the last month before the event, I probably came across 20 or 30 people, that I fish people, that I didn't even know of. And it was just too late to reach out and bring them on. Yeah. And then, of course, there's some more reptile people. And you got to remember, people that maybe have a smaller following now might have a bigger following by next year.
Definitely.
So we were, ended up, we had about 103 creators with sick and people canceling last minute and stuff like that. We ended up with about 90 creators.
Still crazy.
I think next year we could probably get about 160, 180 creators in the building. It'll change the event a little bit for the fact that maybe won't have everyone have as many panels, but we'll see how that goes. But that's one of the changes we're hopefully make is now that the creators are and many of the creators, much like everybody, I mean, literally the event almost was exactly what I envisioned.
Yeah.
Right? There were a couple things that weren't quite what I envisioned, but for the most part, the event went off like I envisioned. I don't know that anyone else knew what was going to happen besides me. And so a lot of the creators, attendees, everything else came in and they were like, what in the hell is this about? And then now they're like, oh, now I get it. Now I understand what it's about. So I think that, as a matter of fact, a lot of the creators like Raw Fishing and Paul Cafaro and the list goes on said, now I understand how I can promote for next year.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because you also don't. A lot of them, it seemed like when I was talking to them, they didn't want to promote because they didn't want to say, it was this, and then people went and it was not that.
Right.
And then now their fan base distrusts them or something. So now that they know, it's on, dude.
Right. Yeah, and I think that'll really help us for next year.
And then Melissa says, did you hear about the 2-year-old two-headed rat snake?
I didn't hear about that. I posted something about a two-headed albino Honduran milk snake that hatched today on my Instagram, but I didn't hear about a two-headed two-year-old rat snake. I'm assuming maybe someone found it out in the wild, or I'm assuming that well, then again, I guess they wouldn't know about a 2-year-old, but yeah, no, give me more information, Melissa. I'd love to, me, I'm a two-headed snake nut. I'm like going after everything that I can get.
More freaks, the better.
Yeah, more freaks, the better. So you flew in from Australia.
Yes.
You got in, when, I can't even remember. You got in on what day?
I got in
Thursday.
Wednesday night. So
Wednesday night,
I landed Wednesday night. Wednesday night. Thursday, straight to work.
Yeah.
Friday, straight into the event.
Yeah, because Wednesday night we saw each other down at the bar, the pool. Yeah, after
5-6 years, something like that.
It's been a long time.
Way too long.
Yeah, I used to come to Australia every single year, and then I just stopped coming. Not for any particular reason. One was I used to always go to reptile shows, and then the reptile shows just didn't ask me to come for whatever reason. And then I think the last time I was actually in Australia was for Venom Hunters for Discovery Channel.
Yeah, true.
I think that was the last time.
Right.
So I think I went like 8 years where I was going every year. I know I've been to Australia 9 times now. So and and we'll talk more about the 10th time coming up here later on. Tease.
Dang, dropped it.
A double digit. How long have you been over a ton of times though too?
Jeez, man.
Because you one time you even talk about Tinley.
Yeah, well, coming over 2 to 3 times a year there for a while.
Yeah.
So it was pretty good.
Yeah, and the one time you literally flew into Jay, you may not have noticed. He flew into Tinley like Thursday night and then flew out Sunday night or Monday morning back to Australia.
Oh my goodness, that's
dedication for the cause.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Everything was fine until I got back to home and hit the Australian turf, and that was it. I was demolished for a day.
Yeah, that's what, and that's the thing. I've been fortunate. And I'm anxious to see, because I haven't done a lot of international travel the last 3 years. I'm anxious to see, with all the travel that we have coming up here in the next 6-8 months, how I'm going to, because I usually adjust it pretty well. The 9 times I went to Australia, I only got jet lag once.
Yeah.
Although I will say there was a couple times I came back from Australia.
Yeah, and it hit you.
And it hit you. And like you go to sleep at like 10 o'clock at night and wake up at midnight and are up all night long.
You're all gone.
And that's brutal. And that usually lasts like 5-6 days.
Right.
And by the 6th day, you're like psychotic. You're like, if I don't sleep tonight, I'm checking myself into a mental institution. You know, like, I mean, literally, that's how
bad
it is. Sure. But while I've been in Australia, I've always adapted pretty well to the time frame. But yeah, you've been over a lot, so it's great that you came, and we've had a good time the last couple of days back here at the shop.
First awesome time. Getting back.
Yeah. So Animal Con. Let's go ahead and hit these supers real quick, as I see AB Thriller in the house.
AB Thriller dropped a nice 50p. Says, "What's up, guys? It's been a while since I was able to join the live stream. Hope all is well. Keep up the amazing work."
I appreciate you so much, AB, and I hope that you'll come to Animal Con. Oh, look who else is in the house!
Bionic Benny.
Benny, before you say something, Benny was probably one of the highlights of my weekend.
I agree, 100%.
Because he's just got that aura about him. You know, that like happiness and
it's a glow.
And for those of you guys that don't follow, we'll put a link in the description. Hit a comment down in the chat. Somebody hit you. Benny, put your link. Whatever. We wanted to get him to 2,500 subs. We're only at 1,400 so far, so we need to get him 1,100 more subs to get to my goal. And he deserves it, because he's an inspirational guy and just one of those nicest, funniest, happiest, you know what I mean? Always smiling, always, joking around. And,
it's a great guy.
So he was definitely one of the highlights for Animal Con.
Go,
for me, Benny. So go ahead. What do you have to say?
He says, "Thank you so much for the shout out. I'm at 1,400 subscribers. Felt really good to pass 1,000.
And now you can make money, man. Now you're
congratulations.
So congratulations.
And I don't know if you know this. It was one of the first times he's been out in public since he got into his accident. Was going to Animal Con. So what a special thing for him to do. To go to such an awesome event, meet so many great people. I mean, you are inspiring, Benny, and we love you so much.
Yeah, Benny, and people should watch him because of that inspiration. I mean, it's obviously he's been through more than most people could ever imagine. Yet he has a smile that is infectious. And,
that's right,
and a great guy. So lights up the room. So please go show Benny some love for me, please. It'd be a personal favor. But so Animal Con, obviously, the brainchild started about 5-6 years ago, and it really was like, I was going to Playlist, which, by the way, Playlist is this weekend down in Orlando. Nice. And I'd go to VidCon, and I was always like, as a matter of fact, it's funny, Tyler Ruggie and Maddie are in at Playlist right now, and I saw them posting, and they posted something on the lines like an Insta story, like, "Any animal people, please save us," or something like that. And they were at like an after party, and that was the thing. You would go to Playlist Live or VidCon, and there would literally be no animal people there, or there might be one other animal person there, and that would be it in the entire. Usually, it was just at Playlist. It was just me. Usually, I think I like Emma Locke started coming towards the end of the time, but the first 6 or 7 Playlists, there was not one other animal person there. And so I kept thinking to myself, like, can't we do a Playlist Live video conference type of thing, but with just animal people? Yeah. And that's where the brainchild of Animal Con came. And then, of course, right about the time I was wanting to pull the trigger, COVID happened. And then for a couple of years, we had to put it on the back burner.
Yep.
And not that COVID is gone. As a matter of fact, a couple of people caught COVID on the trip. But I think, we got to just, it's part of life now. We just got to move on with life.
Just like the flu, right?
Yeah, just like the flu or the cold. And so that was what it was. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, leading up to Animal Con, I really was. There was only two things, and I've said this probably 100 times. So anyone that's listened to this before, just ignore it. Yep. I said there were only two initiatives that I wanted.
Right.
I didn't want it to flop.
Yeah.
Like just completely flop. Yep. I didn't want that, which I was very concerned about it happening. Honestly, because it's the first event of its kind. Yeah, people didn't know what to expect, so like that. And secondly, I wanted people to have a good time. And so I think people had a good time.
I think you nailed both of them.
Yeah, I do too.
And it was, listen, we didn't crush it by any stretch. You know what I mean? It was enough people that it didn't flop, and it was fun, and I think everyone had a good time. And like I said, to a person, everyone seemed to say they were going to come back. Friday was Industry Day, went very well because you had all the creators and talks, and everything was good. Saturday, we had a pretty good crowd. It was a decent crowd.
Was a decent crowd.
Sunday was pretty slow. Right. There was no doubt that Sunday was slow, and we expected that. I think now that proof of concept has happened. And listen, there were so many highlights to talk about. From people like Tarzan coming, Mike Holston, to Raw Fishing showing up, just all the rock stars that showed up. We had TV people, Forrest Galante from Animal Planet.
He crushed too.
Discovery. He was just a machine. He was happy. He was doing his talks. He was talking to people afterwards. He wasn't pretentious. He wasn't arrogant.
He was in his zone, man.
He was there. He talked to all the creators. Came to the after parties. The after parties went great.
Yeah,
they were great.
They were fantastic.
It was awesome.
People seemed to, they got some food, got some drinks. We had some music, and it was funny. The first night, I don't know, you pieced out a little bit early, but the first night, we started with like some kind of, like some music, some hip hop type music, kind of on the lows. By like 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock, Noah and Jay Tingle were controlling. They had that shit bumping,
dude. They were so bumping,
and people were still just hanging out. And so next year, I will say, I'm going to talk a little bit about the improvements for next year too. Yeah. And let me ask you, Pete, what do you think that we could do better in your eyes?
Wow, no pressure, right?
Pressure.
Chucking it back on me now. Well, I guess at the same, all these influences, they should all be contributing. Without them, the show doesn't exist. Yeah. So without their support by sharing and promoting the organisation, it'll never grow. So if they can share and promote the organisation better or more often, then you'll definitely get more people through the door. Yeah. But all in all, I think it was a great event. It was a great spread of people too. Yeah. Like you say, there wasn't too many of the big guys. Yeah. Right through to the smaller guys, and everyone was happy to mingle and talk amongst each other.
Yeah, and I think that we'll do more aquatics next year. Yeah. We had some aquatic people, but we will really jump into aquatics next year. I think, the arachnid people came out really good. We had the dark den, Petco, it was amazing. He was super fun. He was a great guy. We obviously had a bunch of other invert people, Tarantula Cat and KF Inverts and all kinds of, it was a really good invert crowd. We had Ants Canada, we had Lights Camera Ants. Yeah. So it was the bug panel was one of the most popular panels.
Ant guys crushed it.
Ant guys, all the content.
They
in the
embarrassed us all.
Ants. They did embarrass us all. They did.
I tell you.
But I think that will also, obviously one thing we're going to do is have lots more vendors.
Yeah. Yes.
So we wanted to. So this was the thing. I talked to my buddy Brian that was involved, and he said, let's not have too many vendors, and then have a slow show, and then vendors be like, I'm never going back to this.
We can understand that. Yep.
Now that we have the proof of concept, and we think we're going to go from having a decent turnout to having a banger turnout next year, which usually second-year shows do, especially if they were good and the buzz was good, and the buzz seemed to be pretty good around the interwebs, with the exception of the Reptile Hobby. Thank you, Reptile Hobby.
Thank you, Reptile Hobby. We appreciate
always
you.
Very supportive of everything that I do. Once again, you proved to me why I love your Reptile Hobby so much. Yeah, the Reptile Hobby, of course, they were vocal on many threads about how the show was a waste. None of them showed up, by the way. So none of them showed up. None of them supported the show, but they were super happy to go online to tell me how bad the show was and how it was a waste of everyone's time. So thank you, Reptile Hobby. With the exception of that, the people that went and the people the creators that went, the people that went, and even lots of people that didn't go, I was flooded with messages and comments on things saying next year. Now that I know I'm coming. So I think it's going to be much better, but so next year we can have 250 vendors.
Yes.
That'll all be happy.
That'll all be happy and have a lot of things.
And I guess the biggest problem is, all these reptile freaks are just thinking it's another reptile expo.
It's not a reptile show at all.
It's a human expo. Let's be honest. It's a human expo.
Right.
It's completely different.
Right. And this is the thing, there's 20, 30 reptile shows every weekend across this country, right?
That's phenomenal.
And why would I want to compete with them?
Exactly.
I mean, there's Tinley Park, there's the Super Show, there's Daytona, there's Repticon, there's the list goes on.
Yeah.
This goes on.
Yeah.
Why do I want to compete with them? I'm putting out something completely unique that no one has ever done before. But next year it's going to be a little bit more festival style. We want to have reptile people there, sales as well as we want to have aquatics there. We want to have inverts there. We may want to have some more birds there, for sure. More animal stuff.
Some aquascaping, terrace.
Yeah, we're going to have,
exactly.
we're going to have much like a Pandemonium does, or not Pandemonium, Aquashella. We're going to have a scape off where, there's an aquatic scape off. Then we're going to have a terrascape off. What'd you call it?
Terrascape, yeah.
Terrascape, where, like Will Nace and Tanner from Serpa, they can actually build a reptile, whether it's a dart frog or a gecko, whatever, people can get in there and do it. And we'll have a competition where people can do this, people can watch them live and then vote for that stuff. We're going to have a live stream podcast that goes on where people can watch the whole weekend, and we'll have like every 15 minutes there'll be a new segment, new groups of people, new creators that jump on.
Sure.
And we'll so there's so many more things we're going to do next year that will be more festival like. The other thing we're going to do is because there was 5 rooms with talks. And listen, we learned a little bit about that. Number one, we have to have 5 rooms of talks because there's so many people that need to talk.
There's so many influences.
We'll try harder to make sure that the talks don't overlap as much. So if you're a reptile guy, there's not 2 reptile talks at the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can go to your reptile one, but then there's a reptile one, there's a bug one, there's a fish one, there's a creator, whatever the case is. We'll try to have less crossover, but we have to have those. But then when we have the big talks like Forrest Galante, Dingo did an amazing talk.
Oh, yeah.
Bird Tricks wants to do a bird show, magic show. We'll shut down the other rooms and have just the main stage just for those talks, so that those talks are really our power. So we'll probably do each day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And Sunday will be a longer day this year. It won't stop at 2. It'll probably go till 5.
Oh, sweet.
Or maybe 4 o'clock so that we can get over to Gatorland.
That'll be phenomenal. I mean, it was the worst reptile show I've ever been to.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't a reptile show.
It was not.
It was a human show. And all these other aspects, chucking them in is going to just add that extra kaboom to it,
Yeah, and listen, we're not going to be a reptile show. We're not going to be a fish show completely. We're going to be something that is a hybrid of everything.
Yeah.
And I really do believe, and I don't mean this in an arrogant way whatsoever, I think this can be the biggest animal event in the country.
I agree.
In the next 2 or 3 years, if we can pay it attention and do the things and listen to people.
Yeah.
You listen to feedback, learn from our mistakes, and hone in. I think next year is going to be 4 times the size this year.
Absolutely, dude.
I think the third year we'll probably have to move to a different venue because it's going to be so big. So I'm super excited, and thank you guys for supporting it. Let's jump into some supers because you guys are crushing.
Tiffany says, "How's that new no-eyed ball python? Doesn't have my name on it yet. I definitely need to get to AnimalCon next year. Put me to work. Much love. We will.
We need you, Tiff, for sure. And the no-eyed is set up and it's shed out. We just have not fed it yet, so we'll see if it eats.
Beauty.
Oddball says, "Thank you for being you. Think I convinced my fiance to go to the USA for our honeymoon next year." And we will definitely stop by.
Please come and hang out. You'll hang out.
Do it.
Yeah. So I mean, before we go on, first time you've been at the Reptarium, we've been friends forever. You've been to my place many times, but it was BHB Reptiles.
Yes.
So you haven't even been to this building, let alone the Reptarium. Thoughts?
This is all new for me.
Yeah.
So my thoughts, like we were talking earlier today, was it's phenomenal to see, number one, the dream come true.
Yeah.
And see it actually take shape. But not only do you have some amazing enclosures, you actually feel like you're part of the enclosure because the whole place is themed.
Yeah.
And for me, that's pretty awesome. And on top of that, it's some of the unique species of animals that you've got in there, not just all the common stuff that you see in a lot of zoos and stuff.
Well, that's I appreciate.
To me, that's all cool stuff. And like we saw last night, my first showing was all the kiddies coming in and their faces. And I mean, it doesn't matter. Everything is all about that facial expression and the way these kids learn. It's getting their hands on the animals.
Yeah. Well, it was like you said, like Peter
awesome.
was standing right by the door when we were letting people in, and you'd
Probably
see the
freaking all
kids
your
coming
customers
in.
out a little
No,
bit.
no. But then you just see the kids come in, and every single one was
On
like,
their
"Oh my
face.
gosh!"
Yeah,
It's like,
absolutely
and
amazing.
so it's been amazing. But what do we got next?
Seaflow says, "Yo, honey mustard fam, it was
What's
awesome
up?
to meet you and hang out with you guys. The VIP pass was super worth it.
Nice.
Got to chill with Silver Cash and got hooked up with red tickets from Lori. She's the best."
Oh, that's awesome!
Old
Thank you. Yeah, the
Silver Cash.
red tickets mean drinks. So Lori was
She was the hookup?
the giver of red tickets.
She was the plug.
But yeah, it's awesome. Thank you so much for coming, and I hope you'll come next year. Like I said, I promise you, this year was really a lot of fun. Next year is going to be next level. I promise you.
it's
You won't even. It'll feel like the same event, but
on
steroids. On steroids.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it's going to be way, way, way different. Especially that exhibit hall is going to be way bigger and a lot
Way
more
more
things to
bumping.
do.
I mean, the coolest thing about that too is that there was so many multinationals there.
Yeah, there were.
And I mean, it's going to get bigger because, as you know, a couple of Aussies have already contacted me and they want to come over as well. So get prepared for the.
Well, that's the
we
thing.
only
I mean,
one.
I think it'd be
More
really
Aussies.
great to have, like you said, people from all over the world. Well, we
Definitely.
did have people from all over
Yeah,
the
we
world, but
did.
I want to have more people from all over the world
they're gonna
coming to
come.
this event. And yeah, because there's a lot of great European, Asian, Australian,
Animal folks,
you name it, that are great animal presenters that we'd love to have at the show. And I hope that next year we can grow on that. And draw. And I think now that there's a proof of concept, it's going to start to happen.
Yeah,
so I'm going to take a week or two to decompress a little bit. Although my mind's already been working on what the show's going to look like next year. Yeah, I haven't stopped at all. But probably about 2 weeks from now, I'll start reaching out. I've already reached out to a ton of the creators and just thanked them. And like I said, everyone's like, "Oh my God, we had such a good time. This is one of our favorite events." Dave Kaufman said it was his favorite event he had ever been to.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we had a lot of great feedback from that, and everyone that I reached out to is like, "Yeah, count me in for next year." So I think we're gonna, there were a couple people that were, missing from the bunch.
Didn't make it,
like Chandler's in Thailand. Would love to have Chandler there next year. We did invite Emily from Snake Discovery. She declined this year. I'm hoping by next year maybe she would want to come visit.
That'd be awesome.
Talked with Coyote Peterson. He was on the fence about coming this year. I'm hoping that now after the proof of concept has worked, he'll be on the fence, get off the fence and actually come to the event. So we'll hopefully add a lot of those people that should have been there this year that didn't come, and then we'll hopefully add a ton of people that I didn't even know existed, and I can become fans of them too.
Holly says, "I hope I can make it to next year's Animal Con. Saving now so I can get over from New Zealand.
Oh, that'd be so dope.
I'll bring you guys Weta in resin."
So Holly, stick around. I know it's morning, right? It's morning in New Zealand. So good morning, Holly.
Yeah.
So stick around because we'll be talking a little bit about New Zealand here at the end of the podcast.
Let Roses Burn. We missed you. We missed you so much. She says, "I'm so sorry I wasn't able to get there. I was devastated, but already have it marked on my calendar. We talked about you the whole weekend,
We
girl.
literally did Let Roses Burn.
We were looking for you.
We're disappointed as well. I mean, I understand. I mean, listen. I don't know why you didn't come, but I understand things come up. Your health comes up, anxiety comes up, many things come up, and we certainly don't. We're not upset at you at all. We were just like looking forward to seeing you. So please come next year, and please come enjoy yourself, and we'll make you feel like family, like you are. So thank you so much.
AB Thriller came back to say, "Brian, I'm in the process of selling my business. Hopefully I will be done by the end of the month. Wow. I will finally be able to come and do a private tour and maybe ask for a job. LOL."
Well, listen, man, I pray that sounds exciting. Do you know what business he has?
I have no idea. I don't remember.
But selling your business, that's always exciting. So hopefully you're, get some bank and
big life change.
Yeah, big life change, and
that's
follow
good.
your passion to the next level. If you're selling your business must have been good because someone wanted to buy it. So congratulations on that.
Susan says, "Congratulations on Animal Con. Hope you can turn it into a," it says tour thing.
Yeah, I know.
For those like me who can't get to Florida.
Yeah, so I'm not opposed.
What's the idea?
So the idea would be to go from different states, different places, say the Midwest. I'm not opposed to that thing, but I think we definitely need to establish ourselves
before that
for at least a few 3, 4, 5 years in Florida before you start moving around, right?
Yeah.
Because what ends up happening is if you move, it becomes like people don't know what the hell's going on. Yep. Yeah, but if 3, 4 years from now, 5 years from now, it's like the event to go to, I could see doing one in L.A.
Yeah,
I could see
yeah.
doing one in Chicago or St. Louis.
It'll save me 5 hours travel.
Yeah, exactly. 5 hours travel.
Just for that reason. No other reason. That'd be awesome.
That's the only reason I would do it in L.A. is just to save you 5 hours of travel. But no, it's although I do agree with you. Trust me, that extra 5 hours is a big difference. You know, at least the flight you leave tomorrow, which I'll be bummed to see you go. At least the flight from here to L.A. is a little bit shorter than from Florida.
Yeah,
just a tiny bit.
You know, not a lot, but that little extra bit helps.
What did we work out today? It's going to be 22 hours from the time I leave to the time I land.
Yeah,
it's great.
Which to me would be an hour shorter than my fastest trip to Australia. I've always been 23 hours or more. Yeah. One time I had 45 hours to Australia. That's when I did. Remember?
You took the long way.
That's
scenic route.
That was walkabout, mate.
Well, what happened was that our buddy, I won't name his name.
Oh yeah.
Our buddy, and he wanted me to come to do like a doc type thing in Australia. And he was paying for it, and he literally booked the ticket. I'm sure on a credit card fraud on somebody else's credit card.
Someone else's cash,
he booked it the day that before. He's like, "Can you leave tomorrow?" And I didn't even. I said, "Sure, just send me the itinerary." And it was here to Chicago, layover in Chicago. Chicago to LA, layover in LA.
Oh no!
Yes.
Chicago to
LA to
LA. I'm sorry, LA to Sydney.
Nice.
Did we hook up at that point? I was in Sydney for 10 hours.
Yeah, you went to Sydney, then you went to Darwin.
Oh, that's right, because our buddy picked me up.
Yeah, that's right.
But then we went from Sydney to Brisbane.
Oh yeah.
3 hours. We hooked up with the K brothers and Judy, and then finally to the last 5 hours to Darwin. 45 hours from the time I left my house.
I'm ready to film as soon as you hit the ground.
Yeah, it was just like you. It was 6 o'clock at night when we left here, so I'd already been up for 10 hours, and I don't sleep on planes, so it was absolutely brutal. So I'm jealous of your 22 hours because that's an hour less than I've ever traveled.
It'd be nice.
Yeah, so we'll talk more about that in a bit. No.
Solid Serpent says Animal Con was awesome. Loved meeting so many different people. My kids enjoyed seeing me dance on the vlog. You all rock. Much thanks from Utah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for coming. It was great to meet you. I remember you well, and I hope you'll come from Utah again. Next year.
Dingo's in the house too. So just
Dingo?
say a good hello to Dingo.
Let's talk about Dingo.
Yeah, you lost that battle royale, Mr. Dingo.
Yeah, Dingo, man. When we went on the community. So this is the thing, Dingo. Everyone in the comments said you won.
Yeah.
But on the community page, Australia won
by a lot.
On the inside, they all love Australia. Come on.
Yeah, but the downside is that America lost everything. Yeah, we didn't. We
no
lost
matter
on the comments.
what.
We lost that. And we had. Listen, it's like you said. Dingo was for Africa. Yeah. You were for Australia. We had like five Americans.
Had like 5 or 6 guys.
5 or 6 Americans, and we still couldn't win.
No,
we still smoked a Dingo. It doesn't matter what they say.
Yeah. So, but love Dingo. I mean, he's my brother, and love him to death. We'll be over there in April visiting with him, and it's going to be absolutely epic. I'll miss him until April. Hopefully, somehow, some way, we'll see him before then. Yeah. But if not, we'll see him in April. And him and his wife his whole family, honestly, are wonderful people, and I keep saying this, and I'll say it publicly and I say it privately all the time. I don't see how he's not the most popular animal guy in the YouTube.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
I think he should be as big as Coyote Peterson.
Oh yeah,
I really do believe that. He's got the energy, he's got the humor, he's
doing crazy stuff,
way crazier stuff than Coyote ever would do.
Yeah. That black forest cobra, dude, going in by itself all that jazz.
Yeah. Talking about cobras, don't worry about the cobras. What about the smells?
Dingo.
That's the crazy stuff.
Which, by the way, if you guys haven't seen, please go check out Dingo Dinkelman's Reloaded, and someone pin a comment, please.
Yeah.
And we did a video with Dingo, which was Venom versus Flesh.
And it was gnarly.
It was maybe one of the most horrible things I've ever done in my life.
Putrid is the word I like to use.
I still can't eat. It's been days. But literally, I will say this, Dingo. If you have, I'm going to give you a little bit of business advice. I'm a businessman, and I love to take advantages, right? I'm telling you, Dingo, $19.99 a month. You charge a subscription-based thing, and you send people the rats in the mail, and they will lose weight.
Oh, yeah.
It's a huge weight loss thing.
Dingo's diet.
Dingo's diet. Yep. And you just send them a rotten rat in the mail.
Why not work in Australia?
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't. Oh, yeah, that's right. You can't do it.
Some of us, anyway.
Well, listen, everywhere else in the world, you can send a rotten rat. As a matter of fact, we will be the point in America, so you don't have to send them from Africa. We'll just send them from Michigan. will be the fulfillment center for Dingo.
You can precondition them in Florida first.
Yeah, first we'll have the 100-degree 5 days in the sun.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Dingo, for that amazing experience.
It
was awesome. I enjoyed it.
But I will say that video was dope. It really was it was well edited. It was well put together. I laughed the whole time. So it was a good video. So guys, please go check that out.
You're gonna love Dingo's mock charge. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, come on, man. I thought he was faking it.
I thought so too because it's so good. It's so loud.
Yeah, it's
so violent.
Yeah,
but I must say, you got to watch it because
it's good.
It didn't end well for a couple others in the background.
It's good. It's good, man. It's good.
Melissa says, Dov had the snake in his newest NRBC video. It was found in the wild 2 years ago. The most separated heads I've seen yet. Hi, Peter. Love you guys. Peter.
I wonder, NRBC video. Okay. So someone obviously had it at the NRBC, wherever that was. That was. I don't know what NRBC that was, but it had to be a bit ago because the last one was in Arlington.
Right.
I guess it was a few weeks back, like 3 weeks back or something like that. So I must have had it in Arlington. So that's dope, man. That's really cool. Yeah, I have to look into that. I'll watch that and stuff like that. But so, anyways, Animal Con. So I think like I said, we'll have, it'll be bigger. As far as like room wise, be lots and lots more vendors where there will be some animal sales or live animal sales, and as well as more representation from all walks of animal world, with the exception of right now we're not. I'm not going to say we're never doing dog and cat because we may. I don't know. Right now I don't have plans to do dogs and cats, and this is
domesticated, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, and this is the problem. I think, Peter, is that I could see this growing into a beast I can't control. You know what I mean? You bring dog and cats. So right now, if we have 5 rooms with panels, we can barely get people enough panels now.
Right.
If we double it, that means people have less panels.
That's right.
And then we bring dog and cat on. It's a whole nother world. And now we probably have to have, instead of 5 panels going, we probably have 7 or 8 panels going. Now you really are going to get to a point like you're going to have to prioritize. I think we do need to, just by the way, if anyone watching this after or in the comments, you might be able to help with this, but not right now. Actually, I would prefer it to be different. Because you suck. No.
Appreciate the sport.
No. I'm just joking. I'd rather use your connection to something better. I need to have an app.
Oh, right.
I need to have an app for Animal Con.
Yeah, I agree.
For a couple things. That way people can, on their phone, know exactly what's going on.
Yeah,
you can make your itinerary on your app.
Yep.
And then also, I think that the app needs to alert the creators 15 minutes before every panel to say like, hey, you're supposed to be in the green room in 10 minutes.
Stop talking.
Yeah, because we were chasing, Jay and Noah were chasing creators all day. You're supposed to be in this panel. One time Kevin was in my panel and he was supposed to be in another panel.
It was really funny.
So he spent the first 5 minutes in my panel just to realize he was supposed to be in another room. So he left my panel to go in that panel. I think we need an app that organizes. And then if we do grow into 5, 6, 7 rooms, I guess we're already 5, but 6, 7, 8 rooms, it'll be easier for people to understand. But I'm not going to say I'm not doing dog and cat.
Just not yet.
But probably not for a year or two.
Yeah.
Right.
And then we'll see what happens.
Latrocious.
Although I will say, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt.
Oh, you're good.
I will say that, and I probably shouldn't name drop and say things that I shouldn't say, is that first off, we were going to do Animal Con on the last weekend of August, just like we did. That is now not happening because we had some scheduling issues. It's going to happen sometime after that, probably mid-September, after Labor Day. And why I said that is because I had talked with Caesar Milan, the dog whisperer, and he wanted to come, but it was his birthday.
Yeah.
And now next year would have been his birthday. His birthday's the 26th.
Perfect
so his
timing,
birthday.
right?
So if we push 2 weeks, we could get Caesar to come, and that could open up the dog thing.
He's just going to have to start working with reptiles.
So I met Caesar once before. He's a really sweetheart. He's a really nice guy. The conversations I had with him about Animal Con were very, very positive and upbeat. So I think maybe dogs will happen next year with Caesar because I hadn't thought about because I think he's our launching pad, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So Latrocious.
Latrocious came back to say, will it be in Orlando again? And I'll be sending out gifts soon.
Thank you so much for your gifts. And yes, it will be in Orlando. It's going to be at the same event hall, the Creep Royale. What'd you think of the accommodations?
Oh, very flash.
Yeah, it's nice, right?
Very exotic, yes. It was a great feeling after landing, after all those hours to come to that place.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it's very
no
nice.
Super 8 motel.
No.
It's a beauty. I mean, every room has, it's a suite.
Yeah.
With the living room, pull-out couch.
Yep.
I mean, every single suite. It's all suites.
It's beautiful.
It's got giant pool with a giant waterfall. Delicious. It's got hot tubs. It's got a game room.
It's got bars and restaurants.
It's like the one thing we will do next year. Absolutely, one thing. There's bars and restaurants at the hotel, but they're pretty pricey.
Yeah.
We will have food trucks next year.
Yeah, that's a smart move.
Food trucks will be out front next year. That way, people can just buy street food right outside the door. They don't have to go anywhere else. So we will absolutely have food trucks for those of you that came that were had to leave to go get food.
It's part of the learning cycle.
Yeah, exactly. We will have food trucks next year.
Susan says, also, if you're able to turn Animal Con into a touring thing where you have an event, say, in Florida, one in Chicago, and one in LA, it might be easier on creators and booking creators.
Yeah, so again, it's like I mentioned earlier, you may have missed it, is that I don't mind the idea of touring, but I think you have to establish the show first.
Definitely.
And I'll give you an example. Playlist Live has been in Orlando since the very beginning. They started to move to other cities like Washington, D.C., complete flop.
Wow.
I'm talking like they put 10, 12,000 people in Orlando. I went to the Washington, D.C. one. There was maybe 500 people.
Wow.
Complete flop. So, and that's an established, that was probably 6 years into an established show that was getting 12,000 people at the Caribe Royale originally, and then down the street at the, I think it was called the World Trade, Orlando World Trade, and they couldn't do it. So it sounds like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, just have it around the country.
But everything changes the dynamics.
Everything changes the dynamics. And listen, Orlando, although not convenient for everybody, certainly not convenient for someone in LA, for instance, but it's still a destination, right? You can bring your family
and go for more than just Animal Con.
I made it.
You made it from Australia.
I made it. I'm sure everyone else can make it.
Yeah. So, but I mean, you can bring your family. You can go to Universal Studios. You can go to Disney. You can go
of family stuff to do.
So I think that's the thing about Orlando that makes
and
it
tons
so
of animal stuff too. And
Yeah,
I mean, you go to Florida, you're gonna have animal experiences you never thought you'd have. So.
Gatorland is literally 5 minutes away,
which is my favorite.
And
love that.
So I think Orlando will be our home base for the foreseeable future. But I'm not opposed to thinking about another venue a few 3, 4, 5 years from now. But we're gonna have to see what next year is, right? We think in our minds from the feedback and everything else that next year will be huge.
Yeah.
But it may not be. We don't know.
Well, the ripples are already out there.
The ripples are there. But, we've got to execute now.
Yes.
That's right.
And now the thing is I think we're going to, I really, truly believe this, and I hope I'm not just being an idiot for thinking this. I think we're going to 3 or 4 times the attendance next year.
Yeah, because I think a lot more creators are going to be able to shout this out.
Oh, yeah.
And we have, I mean, tons of content to show as like, hey, this is Animal Con.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Con,
like,
yeah. And I think that my point is that I think we'll 3 or 4 times the amount of people. Now we have to wow those people.
Yeah,
that's right.
And if we wow those, if we 3 to 4 times the attendance and maybe double the creators, and we wow everyone next year by like, okay, this year was good, but we wow them next year. Like, holy moly.
This is worlds apart from the last one.
Wait till the next version.
Then the third year is when we crush it.
Yeah.
We absolutely crush it. So we have to crush it before we move it.
Yeah. Got to deliver.
We can't crush it until we can't move it until we crush it, because we'll be dead in the water before you know it. But that being said, I am sympathetic to those that can't make it to Orlando. But again, there's a lot of creators in Florida. And it is a little bit easier for most. Yeah, some people had to travel, but a lot of people were able to make it from the Florida area.
But if you guys can secure the dates now, that gives people nearly a year to plan. So
a year to
makes
plan.
It a lot easier.
Yep. And Orlando's a great place to go. So
that's a great place.
That's it for today.
That's it for now.
All right,
keep hitting us down below.
Yeah, super. So okay. So let's move on from Animal Con. We talked about that. If you guys do have any questions, feel free to hit us up on Animal Con. But we can move on from that. Let's talk about So I think. First off, we used to do, and I've been talking about, we should maybe do this again sometime.
Get back into
the flow. We used to do Australian tour, we did one Australian tour, and then you did a couple American tours from Australia. But that was a lot of fun. Where we took, I think we had about 15 people.
Yeah, I think that time when you came out, there was at least a dozen. Yeah, maybe more, because we did have quite a swagger of people.
Yeah, and so we flew all the people out. We went to Darwin first.
Oh yeah,
right. We flew into
actually. No, hang on. Let's get this right. So you flew into Queensland because there was the Scales and Tails Reptile.
Oh
Festival.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
So that was the Queensland Reptile Festival. So we did the Reptile Festival, and then we actually zipped off and went to Bob Irwin's.
Right, went to Bob Irwin's
so
for
we
the
went to
day.
Camp Chile.
Yep, Steve's dad, of course. Yep,
So, we went up there, and we actually went to Australia Zoo. So that was part of the thing as well.
That was it too.
Ties it all in nice and together. And then I believe we flew over to Darwin.
Darwin. And in Darwin we did, Crocosaurus Cove.
Oh yeah.
The Cage of Death. And feeding crocodiles. And
the
of
real
course,
crocodile.
Yeah. And then of course every night we went to Fog Dam, which is one of the cooler herping spots in the world. And then of course we went to Norlangi Rock, which is on the edge of Arnhem Land, which is native.
Very spiritual area.
Yeah, very. How old are those glyphs were like 60,000 years old?
Oh yes, at least.
Wow. 60,000 years the glyphs they said were
That's
old,
awesome.
When you think about that, I didn't even know humans are around that long.
Yeah, I know.
So but that's how far their Aboriginal population goes back. And,
wow, that's incredible.
So we did Norlangi, then we flew down to Sydney, right?
That's right. Then we flew down to Sydney. We went to the Australian Reptile Park.
Yep, we're Australian Reptile Park.
And then
to Taronga.
We did Taronga, yes.
Yes, we did. Yep.
Called into my place.
Yep. And I think some of us went over to Manly Beach.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Did the old Manly thing across there and back.
And then went to your place and hung out at your place.
Yep. Destroyed everything.
Destroyed everything.
Thanks again.
Still rebuilding. Everyone after that, everyone flew out. So we had some amazing adventure. Everyone flew out. I stayed an extra day. Slept at your place. Roger. And watched Walking Dead. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was when it was like really hat popping. But I remember I was sitting on the couch, and I think that we had been going for I think it was like 12 days the tour or something like that.
Just constant,
and we were going, and being the tour guides, you're the first person up and the last person to sleep.
If you get to sleep.
If you sleep, yeah. And you got, you're trying to make those 12 people, 14, 15 people, whatever it is, have the best time of their life.
The greatest experience ever.
And so it's our spot. So I remember sitting there watching The Walking Dead on your couch and just like nodding off, just like, okay. And finally, I don't even think I made it through the whole Walking Dead. I think I ended up going to sleep and sleeping because that was the first time I had a good night's sleep the whole time I was there. But, we should do that again, man. And let me know in the comments, supers, whatever it is, if you guys would be interested in doing an Australian tour like that. And we can check. Oh wait, did I see Gatorland Vlogs?
Yeah, Savannah's here.
Savannah's in the house. So Savannah is definitely going to come with us to Africa.
Yes.
Which is going to be, as a matter of fact, she texted me this morning and said that all good for her to come down. So that's going to be absolutely ridiculous.
It's going to be a gnarly time.
Such a fun time. And by the way, I want to, while she's in here too, I want to do a ginormous shout out to Gatorland for hosting us for the after party.
You guys are amazing.
I mean, number one, I love Gatorland. I say it every time I go to Florida. It's my favorite place in Florida. Same. I go there every time. I go
multiple times.
Now I basically lived at Gatorland this last trip. I was there.
We went there like 3-4 times.
Yeah, like 3. I think 4 times actually. 4 times we were at Gatorland.
Felt part of the big family.
But I love.
We always
love
do.
Everybody, the whole staff down there. I love everything about it.
It's not just the animals there, guys. It's the people that bring it alive.
It's just a great place.
The human component.
And everybody. Did you see how many people tagged Gatorland in their? I mean, it was like more than Animal Con.
It was crazy.
Gatorland was like, people were just going nuts about Gatorland. Yeah. So thank you, Gatorland. You guys are awesome, and it's amazing. But we're gonna have a great time with that. So we should do the Australian wildlife tour again.
Yep. And then the very first one we actually did an American tour. So we did the reverse. So we brought some Australians over. And that's where we did the Tinley Park.
You did Tinley Park,
first.
Yep.
That's when you were vending there. Yep. So we came in, did the Tinley. Well,
then you came back to us.
We flew into LA first. Yeah. We did Jay's place. So we went to Prehistoric Pets. Got the grand tour there. Thanks, Jay. We really appreciate that. And then we only had like a 2-hour layover or 3-hour layover.
Right.
So he actually came out, picked us up.
Wow.
Took us there, and then Juliet ran us back to the airport, nearly killed us. I tell you what, she drives like 1,000,000 miles an hour. Absolutely scared the crap out of me. I don't know about anyone else. I noticed. I was up front.
Yeah.
But got us back to the airport, and we jumped on the plane, flew to Chicago. We did the Tinley Park weekend thing.
Then you guys drove over to my place.
And then that's right. We jumped in and drove over back over.
We spent a little time there, and then we flew down to Florida.
That's right. And then we flew down to Florida, and that's where we started doing the Florida thing, Florida component.
Yeah, exactly.
Putt golfing.
Yeah, with the Gators. The Gators
and across the road.
Oh yeah, I remember
Australians,
that.
Man.
Yeah. Oh, Australians almost got us arrested. So thank you, Australians.
We're just gonna breeze over it.
Well, it's a land of criminals. You know that, right?
I do know this. Yeah, quite well.
Yeah,
I think the court case is still pending. We should talk about
it. but we should definitely do that again. So that was awesome. And then of course, you were with us for Brian in the Wild in Africa.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
That may have been like still to this day, it's probably my most memorable and favorite trip of my life.
Still has a big part of my heart, that trip, for many reasons.
Yeah, I mean, it was just amazing the things we saw, the things we did. We seemed to be so lucky, remember how, like catching the crocodile, it was like we spent the first day. And I'll never forget this the rest of my life. Do you remember what Mark was his name, right? The biologist?
I believe so, yeah.
Mark
he'd been there a year.
Been there a year. And I'll never forget, going out on a boat with him to snag a crocodile. And we just missed and missed and missed. Hours we spent out on a boat missing. And I'll never forget looking back at Mark and saying and he had been there a year.
Yep.
And saying well, what's your success rate on catching these things? And he looked at me and he said, well, I've never actually caught one.
I haven't got one yet.
Yeah, I haven't got one yet. And I just thought to myself, wait a second. This is like the crescendo of the entire documentary.
Yeah, that's right.
And I just remember being deflated, oh my gosh, we only have till tomorrow. Tomorrow's our last
What's
day.
What's the chances in a
this guy's
year?
been
It's
trying
tomorrow.
a year to catch a crocodile, and then we went out and we were by noon. We were sitting
on that.
Sitting on a
4.3 meter.
4.3
I don't know what that is in your crazy language.
It's. I mean, we're talking almost 15-foot crocodile.
4.3 meter. Salt.
Yeah.
Well,
fresh
Nile
crocodile. Nile crocodile, and it was just an absolute beast. So that,
huge.
but there was so much. I mean, we talked about on the way back. We were talking about Tembe, the cheetah.
Oh yeah,
that was so.
That's one of the coolest scenes I've seen in any doc ever. Period.
I mean, that was.
There was some edited versions that we had there of the badger.
Oh yeah, honey badger.
The honey badger.
So we'll tell the story real quick. What happened with the honey badger was we showed up at Chikudu. Which is right next to the Kruger, which is north of
backs up to Kruger. Yep.
Yeah, backs up to Kruger, and so as soon as I pulled up, Warren and Nicole were there earlier.
That's right.
And I think some other people. I think we were the last people to pull up.
Yes.
So I think you guys were getting the safety briefing from Ranger. Was it Rick Simmons? Sussens. Yeah, yep. Rick Sussens. And so I got there, and immediately Nicole goes, Brian, come here, quick.
Hurry.
And so they usher me off, and there's this little lanai area, that's outside our rooms.
The two rooms and had this little foyer area.
Yeah, a little foyer area that's open air, right? And I walk in, and there's a honey badger.
No.
There's a honey badger, and Pete's there. I'm there. No, it's good.
Oh, it's good.
It was it's a wild honey badger, by the way, wild honey badger.
Wow.
And we sat there for an hour playing hot potato with it because this little bastard would bite. But it was play bite. Right, but they're so strong. And so you would zip it over to Peter. Peter would grab it. It would bite him. He'd zip it over to us. And we played hot potato with this thing for an hour. And then
awesome.
I found out, and we're taking videos and we're doing all this stuff. And I find out afterwards that the safety safety protocol was
brief.
Don't play with the honey badger.
And you're like, we would never.
Touch.
Yeah, don't touch the honey badger. And we played with that thing forever. And so he would just show up, in the little lanai area, almost every day.
He's like, please touch me again.
But I'll never forget. I came in late, so I didn't hear the safety things. So we went to bed because it was late. We got in late. It was 1, 2 in the morning, something like that. So, and we were going to film first thing in the morning. So,
up at 4.
Yeah,
every morning.
Every morning we had to see the sunrise,
Oh,
which was amazing, and which is breathtaking. There's nothing like an African sunrise or a sunset.
Oh yeah.
Anyone that hasn't seen it has to. And so we got up in the morning, and I woke up. You guys were already at, and they call them they basically barbecue. They call them braais.
Right. We had one recently.
We had a braai with Dingo Dinkelman.
It was wonderful.
By the way,
you crushed.
Bro crushed it, man. Most people are like, I can cook, and you're like, yeah, whatever.
I mean, he crushed it being bit by fire ants. That's how good he was,
And it wasn't the perfect. He slow and low. I mean, he just crushed it, and it tasted great. It was really,
it was
really
within 30 minutes we were eating barbecue, and it was banging.
Yeah, and it was banging. So, but so Africans oftentimes do braai. So I mean, the entire time we were there, we ate every meal on a braai. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Oh, that's
every
cool.
single thing was a braai outside, and so
Over the fire.
so everyone was out gone when I woke up. Me and you were bunking together, and I woke up and you were already gone. And I remember it was early in the morning. I woke up and I walked out the door, and there's a cheetah sitting in front of my door. Now, no one had told me there's a cheetah.
Yeah.
No one had mentioned anything about a cheetah.
So you're like, do you double take a little bit?
Oh, yeah. It's like there's a hole in the fence. Where did this come from?
Yeah, where did this come from? And it turned out that it was Tembe, and Tembe is what they called it, and it was the pet, the camp pet.
They say pet, but it was free range pet.
It was a free range pet.
Yeah, it's a wild cheetah.
Go off and hunt your own food and come back.
Yeah, it could still do whatever it wanted, but it would always come back to camp every night.
Typical
and they would
cat.
shut the fence at night to protect it from lions and stuff like that. But during the day, the fence was open and it was able to wander around the wilds. And so that was a pretty amazing experience. It was crazy. And then ultimately later on, we hunted with her brothers, Hunter and Floppy.
Which is just insane.
Still was one of the craziest experiences of my life, for sure.
So one of the nights going back to the room, I walking past the room, and in the little foyer area, I could hear a little ruffle in the side of the garden, and I thought, what's that? So I stuck my head over, and I had a look, and there's the badger, a honey badger, and I'm like, hey, the honey badger's here. This is cool. I'm going to give her a play. So I lean over and the thing's going, rah, and I went, okay, no playtime. No playtime. You're not in the right mood today.
Yeah, it goes from like, I'm your friend to I will kill you.
Yeah, I will rip off your arm.
Yeah, but that was so cool, man. It was so cool. So we're going to have so much fun going back with Dingo and Savannah and everyone.
What a crew,
It's going to be going to be ridiculous.
It's going to be a bonkers.
It is. I think Danger Danny's coming. So wow, it's going to be a freaking bonkers trip. I am so excited about this trip. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Susan have to say.
Susan said this is a couple years away, but you could time the 2024 Animal Con with the 70th anniversary of Godzilla.
Wow.
It'd be really cool to see Animal Con work with someone like Toho.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that would be dope if we could. I mean, I certainly would love to have something like that happen. I mean, that would be wild to think about. I wonder are they planning on a big?
I have no idea.
I would assume you would think at the 70th anniversary they would do something like that. But and of course we have some connections in the movie world now.
With
like
Universal and all that stuff. Yeah.
So that would be dope. We'll thanks for the heads up on that. That's
really
and
keep
good.
your supers coming, guys.
Yeah,
much
keep
love.
coming. But
radiated iguana.
A goanna?
Yeah, a goanna.
Well, maybe iguana.
Oh, iguana.
Iguana. You want an iguana. So yeah, that was, like I said, I think there was so many memorable moments in the Africa trip. And still, like I said, one of the most special trips of my life, if not the most special trip of my life. And I think this next one's going to be ridiculous because we're going to have such a crew, and it's going to be absolutely ridiculous. So that's coming up for those of you guys out in South Africa. We're heading your way.
Look out!
The end of April, we'll
America's
be there.
Coming.
We'll be there probably I think I'm going to go before. The expo. I think the expo is the last weekend in April. I think we'll go before, do all our adventure, and then go up and go to Joburg, do the show, and then fly out of Joburg.
Oh,
that
sweet.
way we're not going the opposite way. Because I know Lori wants to be back early. Our daughter's birthday is May 2nd, so I know that she wants to be back. So
okay.
So I think we'll go before and stuff like that. But that'll be epic. And then so big announcement.
Bum, bum, bum,
You guys ready for the announcement? We are going to also be going to Australia to visit my boy Peter, and we're going to go to the Melbourne Expo. Do you know what the name of it is?
The Victorian Herpetological Society Expo.
The Victorian Herpetological Society Expo.
The VHS Expo.
VHS, that's right. VHS. For short, we like to shorten things. VHS, it's in Victoria.
And so that's going to be March 11th. The crew will be there. We're going to be, rolling strong on that one too. I know Jay's coming.
Yep.
Both J and Jay's coming.
J and Jay.
Noah's coming. Lori's coming.
It's going to be a blast.
So it's going to be a great thing. I'm hoping that Kyle from Primitive Predators is coming. I invited him. He said he'd like to come. So it'll be a big crew again. Yes. We're going to do some cool stuff. So if you guys are in the Victoria area, or in Australia, come see us March 11th.
Make the trip.
And we'll be doing some.
It's gonna be unforgettable.
Stuff. I think we're gonna do. I was looking at stuff today, and I think that we're gonna, fly into Victoria.
Bit of pre-planning. Yes.
Yeah, fly into Melbourne, and then we'll probably do the expo, and then get out of there pretty quick. Because I don't think there's much down there for me, to be honest with you, other than the expo. I think we'll probably fly up to. Alice Springs probably.
Yes.
Yeah. Do a little bit of Alice Springs, then fly to Darwin. Yep. Do a little bit of Darwin. Fly down to Brisbane.
Sweat it up.
Yeah. Go back to Bob Irwin's.
Can't wait.
Steve Irwin's dad's place. Hopefully, I haven't talked to him, but he's always extended me an open invitation, so hopefully he'll be up for it.
Oh, dude, I need a picture of him so bad.
Yeah.
Dude.
Do the Australia. Yeah. Do the Australia Zoo. And then probably after that, fly back to Sydney, and then fly over to
Wait for
this,
it. Wait for
this
it.
is
Wait
it.
for it.
This
Wait
is
for
it.
it.
This is for you,
Wait
New Zealand.
for it.
Fly over to New Zealand,
The land of the long white
and
cloud.
do a couple days in South Island, couple days in North Island, and then we'll fly out of Auckland back home.
Pee myself is all I'm saying, dude.
Yeah, so we'll see glaciers and penguins and wettas and so the whole thing. So that's
and
oh gosh,
it's gonna be a monster.
It's gonna be amazing, man. It's gonna be a dream. Hopefully tours. I mean, hopefully we can find somebody.
I'm sure we can organize.
We got to make it happen.
I hope someone can organize some Tuatara.
I found the last living dinosaur.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Maybe not that lucky, but yeah.
No, we're doing it.
You're gonna see them. You're gonna touch them.
Yeah. If
we'll
I
make
could,
it happen.
oh my gosh, it'd be so amazing.
Reach out to the contacts.
So that'll be a lot of fun. So how is Australia right now? Where's the state? Again, it's been 5 years since I've been there, and even the last trip I was there, I was filming for Discovery. So
COVID changed the world too. So how's it now?
Yeah. I mean, you guys were locked down forever, man.
You guys were forever. It was
like
crazy, man. Like the streets were ghost towns.
Were you able to leave your house at all, or no?
Very restricted. You're allowed to leave. One person from per household could leave. So every state had their own rules too. So then we started having border wars, I guess. Where
nice.
Everyone's chucking up their borders, not letting anyone in. So, but we were allowed to leave our houses individually to go get supplies, basically go shopping.
Yeah.
Bring the resources back, and it was pretty crap.
And then in your house for the rest of the day.
Yeah, that's it. Lock it down. But lucky for me, I live on 8 acres, so my whole house is a giant playground.
Yeah, you have a lot of stuff.
Get fresh air and stuff.
Like I mentioned, I haven't been there to a reptile show in probably 7 years or something like that. What for those of you guys that don't know, Australia's shut. You can't import, export.
True.
So what you have is what you have. Now, thankfully, you have some of the most amazing reptiles on the planet, which is great. Yeah. But not every state can keep all of them, right?
That's true. So not every state can keep everything. We have individual states have their individual rules and regulations.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. On top of that, we actually have to have a license, and the license is tiered. So you start off at level 1 and move your way up to level 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Right.
So, you're going to have a level 1 for 12 months before you can have a level 2 animal.
Okay.
So the harder to keep species are usually on level 2. So you'd think that they'd be more important, but they're actually cheaper because less people want to move up to the level 2.
Okay, gotcha.
So it sort of crashes the market a bit.
Okay.
So you get a lot of saturation very quickly because, number one, each state has their own rules and regulations, as well as what they can and can't keep.
Right.
So what you breed in New South Wales might be great, but you can't sell to anyone in Victoria. So, and Western Australia and Tasmania do not allow any animals to transfer in and out. Western Australia, yes, with lizards, but not with snakes. Okay. So, now you're only dealing with 1, 2, 5
now
states.
Can WA ship out though, or just
they can ship out?
Okay,
they're still allowing some reduced wild caught stuff. So that's a little bit crazy as well. I mean, the population that we have should be stable now. That we shouldn't have to collect from the wild.
Yeah.
Some species I agree, but not the commonly kept stuff. It's a little bit weird.
Yeah.
So it really saturating the market can happen very quickly if you're too successful. I always say, what do you do if you're too successful? Number one, if you get stuck with the animals, you've got to house them. You've got to do something with them. So, and I mean, COVID was magnificent.
Yeah, because everyone wanted animals.
Everyone got incentives, so everyone.
So
just
tell me
blew
about that
cash.
a little bit, like, because here we got stimulus checks. So did you guys get the same thing there?
We basically got the same thing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So that duration of time that we were shut down, people were getting stimulus checks for a year.
Wow.
9 months to a year.
So don't go to work. We'll just pay you.
Yeah, don't go to work and get paid $300. We'll pay you $750 to stay at home.
Wow.
So all of a sudden it created this weird economy.
Jeez, that's bizarre.
People just had all this disposable cash, and reptile sales just went through the roof.
Yeah, same here.
All the pet stores that I was supplying couldn't keep up with their sales.
Yeah.
And my private sales, I couldn't keep up with those either. They just, you just couldn't keep up.
Yeah. So I know that you've always been known as like the ant's nest, right?
Yeah, the dead snake king.
The Anteraceae, children spotted, Stimson's, whatever, children's, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Won't get into that argument. But you also, so tell me, actually, I will get into that a little bit.
Yep.
You guys have like Wheat Belt, Stimson and some pretty special Stimsons.
Oh, definitely.
Well, like, how did you feel when they're like, no, they're not Stimsons anymore. They're children's.
Yeah, it's a bit weird because, when you actually look at the scale counts and you look at taxonomy, that's what we should be looking at. Genetics is one thing.
Yeah.
But the whole theory or the basis of that sort of paper, and I know I'm probably going to get smashed for this, but that's all right. I still believe children eye and Stimson eye are completely separate.
They look different.
Maybe in some areas you do have some
crossover,
or genetic sort of diversity crossing over. So the basis of the paper was that if these species could interbreed, then therefore they would be the same species.
Which is crazy because you see, Borneo bat eaters.
Right.
Yeah.
I see carpet pythons mixed with ball pythons. That's not the same species.
Doesn't mean they're the same species. Yeah, I think that's the problem with taxonomists is that sometimes they don't really know what they're
constantly
talking about.
Changes too,
and you have lumpers and clumpers, and then you have people that splitters. So some people want to keep them all together. Some people want to separate them all out. And to me, I because I've been to your place and I've seen other Stimsons in Australia. I mean, in particular, like that wheat belt area.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, they're very significantly.
We're not just talking color and pattern. We're talking body shape.
Yeah.
Head shape.
Everything,
scale counts, all the rest of it,
Yeah, so there's no way to. So I still look at them as Stimsons.
Yeah,
I have some Stimson eye, I have
so
children eye, and I have. But so you have, a giant collection of Stimsons and children's and spotted pythons. Definitely. You're working with what do we got? We got marbles, we got T positives.
With all the color morphs that are coming through, color and pattern morphs. So we're lucky. We've got marbled children's, which are very similar to, we were speaking earlier about the
cowrie tick.
That's right, the cowrie tick. Start off, these guys start off yellow or pale white, and then they gain more pigmentation as they get older.
Right.
So that's pretty amazing for us. We have the T positive albinos, which you guys call T positive or caramel albinos.
Yes.
I think, yeah. So we have the T positive albinos. We have T negative albinos.
Right.
We have...
and those are spotteds, no? Or are they
spotted? In the spotted python. So the maculosus, we have the T negatives.
Yeah.
T positives in children eye and Stimson eye.
Yeah.
And we only have marble in the children eye at the moment. And we have, obviously the granites in the maculosus.
Right.
But also probably the most impressive thing is all the natural color pattern variants I like is the reduced patterns, which are stripes or lined animals, depending on which side of the fence you want to be. And the blonde max, so that nice yellow backgrounds with a nice big broad blotching on them. So across the board, there's some spectacular animals, plus all the locality forms of.
Well, that's the other thing, right? It's exactly. It's like you guys have the localities, much like gray banded king snakes.
Yes.
For us, but your Stimson eye, and they can look radically different depending on where they're from. So, but that's. Although you work with the dirt snakes.
Yeah.
You work with a lot of other animals. So tell me what else you got going on.
Oh, well, basically I work with all the pythons as well. So I keep a lot of carpet pythons, olives, waters. Well, I don't have water pythons, actually. Scrub pythons I do, which is crazy. So scrub pythons, blackheads, womas, rough scale pythons, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, roughies are great, man.
They feel just like, what is it, the African species?
Yeah, Angolan.
Yeah, the Angolans. They have that sort of beaded sort of feel. Well, these guys got more of a ridge, sort of very keratinous sort of feel. And their teeth are just wicked.
Yeah, I know.
When they give you a threat display and they sort of sit there and they puff their head out and flatten it and then open their mouth, gaping.
Yeah.
Trust me, you're gonna regret that decision pretty quick.
Yeah, I regretted it a little bit when I was over there. I got bit up plenty.
Yeah. Standing there watching this American guy getting chewed up.
Yeah, but it gave you the respect that you needed.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, it did. It sure did. Drink your small water.
I think that's how I ended up getting a bunch of friends in Australia. Was that so? Just to back up a little bit, I was shooting for snake bites at the time, was just once a week, and Lori was holding the camera, and John Weigel, who owns the Australian Reptile Park, is a little bit of a jokester. And so he's like, hey, and of course he rediscovered basically roughies. And so he was the first guy to breed them. And when I was there, they were still pretty rare.
Yeah, definitely.
Now they've become pretty common over there from what I understand.
Yeah. So they're on level 2. So at that time when you were there, they were probably worth $12,000 a piece.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
They're worth $250 now. And most people don't breed them because...
it's hard to get rid of them.
Yeah, it's pretty saturated.
I think they're still about $1,500 here now. Wow. They're or maybe $2,500, something like that. But they've come down a little bit here. But I know the first ones went for $15,000 a pair.
Yeah, definitely.
And then but so John said, yeah, I have this adult male that you can hold.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do a film piece on it. I was like, great. And I didn't know John was a prankster at the time.
Oh yeah.
And so I pulled this roughie out, and of course I remember seeing a picture in the book Living Snakes of the World of the preserved Carinata.
Well, that's how we all knew about animals.
This
specimen in a bottle.
Specimen in a bottle. And now all of a sudden it's like, I've been looking at this since I was a kid. All of a sudden now I'm able to hold an actual living animal.
Yeah. That's so cool.
And so I picked it up and then it just started lighting me up. I mean, just like lighting me up. And I remember we were filming. And by the time we were done filming, we had a crowd around us, all watching this silly American, dripping with blood, just all over the place. And I'm just talking about this snake and how amazing
smile on your face.
I'm smiling on my face, and this thing's just bang, 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 and it's like a green tree python with a bigger head.
Oh yeah,
so bigger teeth, bigger punctures, and but I was just in such heaven handling the snake. It didn't matter. But right after that, I think, probably maybe some Australians thought I was an idiot, but a lot of them came up and said, "Oh my God, you're nuts. This is awesome." And that's ultimately how I started making a lot of friends over there. Definitely. And then of course, Johnny Weigel, after the show was like, "What are you doing? What's your plans for the rest of your trip?" And I was like, "I have no idea. I'm going to be here for
no idea.
Yeah, I got 4 more days, and I don't know. I don't have Darling Harbor anymore.
It's
I'm just staying in a hotel." And he's like, "Come stay at my house." And we got a chance to go to the Australian Prep right down the street from you in Gosford, and that's where I got to milk funnel web spiders. I touched my first spider ever.
I was going to say, you must have been losing it because that was back in the day.
Oh yeah, man. It was the first spider I ever touched.
Yeah, and that's not a nice one to touch.
Which was a huntsman at Johnny's place. And so it was a great trip. And
great experience.
And then after that, I started coming back. I think the next year I came back with Joy. She had to show up in Ipswich.
Right. Scales and Tails.
Yeah, Scales and Tails in Ipswich. And that's how I went back so many times, that every year I was invited to the Scales and Tails Ipswich show until dipshit took it over, Steve, whatever his name was. And then I went to one of his shows, and then he's a freaking nut. Is he still around?
No.
Okay, good, because he is an idiot. No, he was just,
the worst.
Oh my gosh, man. I wanted to knock his teeth out, he was such a dick. But anyways, that's all.
Anyway, look, we got some of these.
Okay, yeah, let's keep going.
Let's jump off that topic.
Yeah.
Holly says, question for the guest. Have you heard of what is going on in Queensland with crocs over 2.4 meters?
Yeah.
And then she came back to say,
certainly have.
Crocodiles 2.4 meters or more in length would be removed from Queensland's populated East Coast as part of a trial being considered by the state's environmental department to boost public safety.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way: when they say removed, they mean killed.
Killed.
So,
yeah.
Let's be honest. That's.
Yeah, they're not placing them somewhere else.
No, and the problem is humans. It's not the crocodiles. It's humans. There's signs up everywhere, and you always hear about people swimming and getting bitten by a croc. And there was one guy.
What do you expect?
He went for a swim in Lake Placid. We got Lake Placid up near Queensland, up in Cairns there, and he went for a swim. And this place is supposed to be croc free, but he jumped in. This croc's grabbed him on the head, and he got out. He was very lucky. So
yeah, I heard about that.
So it's just crazy. It's phenomenal. It's going to serve zero purpose. You're going to take out adult animals.
Yeah,
you're going to decimate an adult population. How are they going to be able to replace themselves?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, right? Because saltwater crocodiles were endangered, critically endangered, and then through farming, skin trade, their population, much like the American alligator,
make them worth money.
Yeah,
they get a bit of respect.
Yeah, and just much like the American alligator, it was a really true success story in conservation. Definitely. And now we're going the other way.
Yeah,
let's start killing them off again.
Doesn't make sense. And so the problem really was that the animals were hunted almost into extinction.
Yeah.
Then we made them worth something, so then we started croc farming.
Yep.
At that point, humans started invading their natural areas because the crocs weren't there anymore. Now that the wild populations have boosted back to where almost they were naturally, it's now a problem because the humans are now in the areas where the crocs used to be, and the crocs have just moved back into their home.
Yeah. But yet us humans think it's ours.
That's right.
Just much like, alligators in Florida.
Pretty much.
It's like, it's they're nuisance and yeah, what do we expect when we move into their wetlands and
keep encroaching every week on their land,
But yeah, it's a bummer because, especially when you're talking, like you said, when you're talking about taking away the adults over 2.4, now you're talking.
How long do they intend to keep this up?
Yeah.
Anything over 2.4 it really isn't sexually mature.
Right, yeah. So they're never going to breed. Yeah, they're not going to reproduce. So if they just kept taking the 2.4, eventually you would just decimate the entire community of crocodiles.
So it makes no sense.
Yeah, I read about that as well, and I thought, but Australia's government hasn't always made the best choices.
True.
Nor has America. We've made terrible choices as well, and it always surprises me that when it comes to wildlife, the people that are making the decisions really have very, very little understanding of wildlife itself. They should have some, like let's say the Fed in America.
Right.
He's a very well-versed economic guy, right? We're not just plugging some politician in to make policy on monetary value in the U.S.
Right.
Why would they not have a minister of wildlife that is actually a wildlife person that understands wildlife? You know what I mean? And the same thing happens here. We have the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, or the FWC, and they seem to make decisions that are exactly opposite of what
would
a real animal person would make.
It's almost like what the population wants to hear, but reverse of what the animals actually need to survive.
Right, yeah. It's like the Burmese pythons down in the Everglades. We can all agree it's ecologically bad for the environment.
Yeah, right.
It's a horrible situation. But we can also all agree there's no stopping them. It's
hard now.
Impossible. They're gone. It's gone.
It's gone.
It's
out of our hands.
They are now in. They will forever, much like Corona, like COVID.
Yeah.
It will be with us forever. So will Burmese pythons in the Everglades.
Yeah, they have a population. They're established.
And there's no. I mean, you could kill off 10,000 a year. There's going to be 20,000 produced. And you can't get to the 10,000 anyways. You're going to get to 500 a year because the real population is deep in the bush, and you just can't get to them, and it's the perfect environment. But yet the instead of going like, okay, what do we do to just contain them? Do whatever we can, whatever the policy is. Instead, they go, let's just ban everything.
Yeah.
Let's ban everything, because somehow the guy that's keeping in Tampa a Burmese python is now somehow responsible for what's happening the Everglades. Taking his snake away ain't going to stop the Everglades.
Ain't going to work, no.
Ain't going to stop the Everglades. But again, these policies come out from people that seem to be, and it's really weird here. And I don't, and I remember being at Scales and Tails and talking to a senator, a politician from Australia, who was very keen on like changing things. He seemed to be a good guy. But we've obviously here in America, it seems like the wildlife departments, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, FWC, not so much DNR. DNR in Michigan's great. They're really, really good. Let's hope it stays that way.
Yeah.
But these people seem to be like looking at us like we're the enemy.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Like somehow like we're
responsible. Yeah.
We're responsible, and we're like every one of us is a criminal, rather than looking at us like partners in this, right?
Yeah.
Like I would have. I wrote this article once for a magazine talking about the brown snakes in Guam, right? The brown tree snakes in Guam.
You're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
It's one of our exports.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one of your exports to Guam. And can you look up really quick?
Sure.
So Google brown snakes in Guam eradication. Let's say
it's still an ongoing thing.
But so there was, and maybe this might be okay. So 3. Okay, good. There you go. This is.
You want me to click into it real quick?
Let's see. Announces. So what's the next one here? This is actually. Now they're at $3.4 million. But let's go back a second.
Yeah.
This is a new one here. Yeah. Let's go back a little bit further. Let's go. Put Tylenol.
Click
put Tylenol in the thing. Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Okay.
So I wonder where does it say the price that they paid? So anyways, let's just read this really quick.
Yeah.
So it says, the brown tree snake is a significant ecological, agricultural and economic pest in Guam. Yeah. Acetaminophen has recently been identified as a promising snake toxicant. Subsequent experimentation has shown that acetaminophen mouse baits are readily consumed by the active toxic, and they're actively toxic to the brown tree snake. So what happened was the U.S. government, and I was hoping I could find it, but it doesn't look like it's here, spent millions and millions of dollars.
$15 million a year.
$15 million. And what they did was this is what they did.
Yep.
They spent $15 million and they stemmed Tylenol, acetaminophen, into frozen mice.
Jesus.
And they put them, because tree snakes, of course, are in the trees.
Traps, yep.
And what they actually did was put them in parachutes. And they dropped them out of airplanes with parachutes. Frozen mice, frozen thawed mice, out of the planes with parachutes and the thing. Didn't eradicate anything. And what I said is, you give me $5 million, and I'm going to get every herper I know, and we'll wipe that entire island off.
Take them out real
We'll
quick.
take everyone off that island. It'll be gone. For $5 million, we'll get every one of those animals. Because Guam is a smaller island, we could eradicate those things. And,
True story.
If I called up every herper I know and said, I'm going to pay for your trip to Guam, and I'm going to give you $50,000, and you have to stay here for 6 weeks and catch every brown snake you in. We'd spend $5 million and we would have eradicated them. They spent $15 million on Tylenol stuffed mice.
Yeah.
You know,
out of a plane.
Out of a plane.
Yeah, that's also such a dumb one too, because you're using it as a toxin. I mean, toxins are indiscriminate killers, right? So like a hawk can grab it, an eagle, something. Sure. It's like they probably killed more things they didn't want to kill than things they wanted to kill.
Well, it's no different than the cane toad in Australia, right?
True story.
I mean, they imported cane toads to kill cane beetles.
That's so dumb.
And of course, cane beetles stay at the top of the cane plants.
And they fly.
And cane toads stay at the bottom and they don't climb.
That's right.
And they didn't eradicate the cane beetles, but now there's cane toads all over Australia.
Which is worse.
Decimating the wildlife population.
It's hideous.
And hundreds of millions of them are there because somebody in the 50s decided to import a handful of cane toads to eradicate a problem. Like, all it took is one biologist to say, hey guys, do you know that cane beetles fly and they stay at the top of the plant?
They're not going to catch any.
The toads won't eat these. And that's what's confounding to me as an animal guy, is how we're the problem. Where if you join forces with us,
you'll have the knowledge now.
We'd be able to help.
Right, because really you gotta breed whatever eats them the most.
Peter's
like in their
an Aussie legend.
Yeah, this guy's lying, so we won't read that one. No, Fry's Critter says Peter is the Aussie legend.
Aussie legend, mate.
Give a shout out to him.
Struth.
Give a shout out to Chris Fry, top bloke.
Is he?
Chris.
Good.
He's a good guy.
Good to have you on, Chris.
He's a good guy. Very
Appreciate
positive
you, bro.
guy in the hobby back home.
Good,
that's
man.
awesome.
Love you, Chris.
Keep
Good
up
to
the
see you,
work,
brother.
Yeah, get back to work. Holly said, sorry, another for the guest. Thoughts on 1080 poison?
Oh, so 1080 poison is what we use to control foxes.
Oh,
it's fox bait. Once again, indiscriminate.
Yep. So a bunch of shit's dying.
Oh, yeah. So basically, they'll go through, and they do it in my area. Mm-hmm. So they'll go through, and certain property owners will nominate to have the 1080 baits put in. Yeah. And obviously, the foxes are supposed to take the baits and then go away and die. Basically, they bleed from the inside out.
Yeah, and then the buzzards that eat the fox.
Well, they don't even think about that. But the thing is, you have lace monitors, so you have secondary effects, and they reckon that there's no effects on monitors, but clearly in these areas, the monitor population is heavily decimated. Yeah. So once again, 1080 poison is a no-go for me. I really don't like that. I mean, send out some hunters just to pick off the animals that they can see. Yeah, it might take longer. Yeah. Or do some live trapping where you actually trap the animals live. Right. Because you might catch something else you shouldn't be catching.
I remember, what was it? Is it the hairy-nosed wombat? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I remember they were farmers were literally just cementing their holes.
Oh yeah, it's
like it was like they were just burying them alive. That's how they were. Throwing fires down there, killing off the wombats because they were just a
nuisance.
Yeah, a nuisance.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's crazy what happens. You know what I mean? In Australia, the thing that and you'll see this, Jay, when we go. The thing that is interesting about Australia more than any country I've ever been, Africa's this way too. Africa's obviously not a country, but South Africa, the country, and Australia are the two countries that really embrace wildlife.
Yeah,
for sure. You see, you go into a store and the candies are animals. Yeah, you know what I mean. Everything is about animals,
which is
and
awesome.
Stuff like that. I mean, you see koala, crossing signs. You see, and so that's why it's even more surprising to me
to see
the policies that are so stupid.
It's the same. It's the same as everywhere. It's like they haven't done enough. So how do we prove to everyone else we're doing something? Let's go completely overboard. Let's go completely flip side. Yeah. We didn't stop them coming into the country. They're a little bit of a problem. And I mean, there are foxes in my area, in my neighborhood. Yeah. I'm on a property, so we see them all the time. Yeah. Are they a problem to me? No.
Right.
There might be a problem to someone else that has free-range chickens, but maybe you should be taking a bit of action there.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've had multiple times where I've had to go and catch big lace monitors in chicken coops.
Right.
Because
that's
the
a native
are there.
species.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you're drawing in these predators naturally. It doesn't matter what.
Yeah,
it is.
those
It could be
chickens don't
diamond
belong there.
pythons or big monitors in your cage. They're all coming in for the same reason. And the
It's always
foxes will
nice
come in too and pick
when
them
the
off.
snakes go into the chicken cage, but then they're too fat to get out of
A lot
the chicken
easier to
cage.
catch.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, the scariest thing is when you go into these places, and I've had this once where I've gone in to catch this big lace monitor, and the lady's gone, "You going to catch that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to catch it." And she goes, "Okay, no worries." She opens the door. I go in, and I hear this click behind me, and I'm like,
"Oh, it just locks you in."
Oh, I'm locked in this cage with this big lace monitor. I'm like, "Okay, this is going to get exciting."
Yeah.
And here I've just basically got a big Hessian sack.
Yeah.
Because these things are just monsters, you know. And I'm like, okay, this is going to get exciting. And then he just sort of realizes what's going on, and he's like, it's time to go.
It's time to go. Yeah.
So he basically tries to run through the chicken wire.
Oh wow.
So he just sort of plows into it and gets sort of halfway through and gets all sort of caught up. Made it a little bit easier. But I tell you what, they're absolutely powerful. I've got big scars there on my arms, which I've hidden now. So.
Yeah. No,
but
that's good for tattoos.
Yeah, hit them away. Yeah. But powerful creatures, you know. And the thing is, like, obviously, I took him out, I took him away, released him. But these things have a 10-kilometer square radius, so it's within his home range. He's going to end up back there again.
Sure.
I mean, if that's a problem, don't keep chickens.
Yeah.
So
I was surprised. I was up in Queensland with the K brothers at the time, staying with them, and we went out to a picnic park, just a park, park, and literally like Lacey's would just come right up to you, like
like a squirrel,
begging for food.
No, wiggle
wild,
that finger.
Wild lace monitors just walk right up to you,
bizarre,
just
dude.
begging for food.
I get hyped enough seeing a Knowles in Florida. Imagine you seeing a Lacey, dude.
It'll change your life.
It's crazy, man.
Make sure you cover yourself.
Australia is truly amazing. It's a great place, so it's going to be great. I can't wait to get back. Like I said, it's been a long time, and
I'm hyped to be there for the 10th. That's going to be pretty cool for you, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be wild and.
Be magical.
Yeah, and I love I've only been to Alice Springs once.
Yeah,
it's at the time I went, it was my favorite place that I'd been to in Australia.
Well, hopefully we get to see the heart of Australia, Uluru.
Uluru, you got to see Uluru. Yeah. Like I said, flew over it, saw it for the sounds of darkness or sounds of silence. I think it's called.
That's it.
Yeah, sounds of silence. Got to do the sounds of silence thing for sure, 100%. So, I mean, I hear it's just really spiritual.
It is,
I need that.
It's like when we went to Africa. It's just the smells, the sounds, and just everything. Just sort of, it's really sort of primal.
Yeah.
Well, and you know that there's been thousands of years of humans gathering at this spot, doing the same thing you're doing, and that's very special. Yeah,
like I said, I flew over it from Perth to Alice Springs. And of course, the pilot was like, "On to the right side of the plane, we have Uluru." And don't ever call it Ayers Rock, by the way.
I won't.
It's right because Ayers Rock is like a derogatory, right?
Yeah, it's what white people call it. The traditional name is Uluru.
Yeah, Uluru. Yeah. So you'll always
colonizers.
The whiteys.
Yeah, we always mess it up.
But yeah, I look forward to seeing it in person and seeing the change of color with the night
sand too. The color of the sand
is really cool. Yeah, and I hear it's very like it's like a festive thing where there's like just it's like going to Vegas in the middle of the desert. Right, I guess Vegas is in the middle of the desert.
No, but I know what you mean.
But you know what I mean, without all the casinos and glitz and glamour.
None of that out there. Trust me.
Yeah, and I remember meeting a guy here actually at a reptile show. Ironically enough, that he used to do like tours and stuff like that of Uluru, and he told me a lot about it. So yeah, it's I can't wait to get back. We got to do that. We just have to.
100%.
And I think that I say we just drive from, for sure from Alice Springs to Uluru. And back, because that drive's got to be awesome, man.
It's not a short drive, but it will be awesome. I mean,
it'd be awesome.
You're lucky
Worth
to see some Thorny Devils and
Thorny Devils are
dude.
so sick.
Yeah,
Alice Springs. We saw them at the shows. People would bring them to the shows, but at Rex's place, we had a chance to see a bunch of wild caught ones, and man, those things are crazy, man.
Crazy, aren't they? Crazy looking.
Whew. Does anyone breed them?
Well, the only place that really works with them is Alice Springs, is Rex. Yeah. I think there's one other private individual that has them, but the problem is obviously it's just the species of ant and the number of ants that they got to feed on.
They got to eat on just tens of thousands of ants or something like that.
Sorry, Ants Canada.
Ants Canada.
I apologize.
We need to do a collab with Ants Canada.
I don't think you'd be impressed with the results.
Yeah. What kind of ants can we put in
here?
Like
a Thorny Devil proof ant farm.
What are you guys doing?
So they can't, because we've had success here with horn lizards.
Yes.
Eating pinheads with dusted
calcium and
dusted.
It's like a nitric acid or something.
So it's
the Repashy product.
Yeah, it's what is it called?
Not folic acid.
Yeah, folic acid. That's what it is. Folic acid.
Shameless plug there.
Yeah, Repashy. Yeah, Repashy.
But I did actually import some of that stuff when I was doing that for Repashy, and I did send some stuff off for them to trial. So
okay, yeah, because
Still
we've had
waiting for them to
some
get back to
super success with that with horn lizards, because
Yes.
horn lizards are the American Central American version of thorny devils, basically, and they obviously just ants.
Yep.
But Repashy with the folic acid, people are having huge success with pinhead
definitely.
crickets dusted. So
Dust them up and feed them off.
yeah, and they're breeding them like crazy now.
yeah, it's
Lots of
amazing.
people are breeding them here and never feeding them ants ever. So I wonder if thorny devils are able to be
Probably
transitioned,
similar, yeah.
So. But there is nothing more. I wanted to do a thorny devil tattoo because I'm doing an Australian sleeve.
Yep.
That's a hard animal to tattoo, I think.
Just because of how many points there are, right?
There's so much going on with that, and I couldn't.
But it'd be worth it.
I couldn't find a photo that really represented it perfectly.
Well, that's my mission.
You know what I mean?
We'll make it
Yeah,
happen.
well, you
gosh,
gotta make
yeah.
it happen, Jay.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
Because that would be a
number one.
Yeah, it'd be a sick tattoo.
So if you want a true Australian traditional tattoo, and this is for Mad Paulie in WA, he made a recommendation. You've got to get the spider web on your elbow.
Oh yeah, that's
with
so
the redback
straight.
spider.
with the red,
Very
redback,
Australian, mate.
Yeah,
Australian, right there on your elbow.
Yeah, no color though for me.
Well, no
I think color looks like
you
shit.
Just leave it out. What?
I mean, oops.
Yeah, like real bad. Like honestly, I don't trust people that have color
Yeah,
tattoos.
if you have
I
a
don't know
color
what you're
tattoo,
gonna
you're
say.
probably a bad dude.
It's just colouring up my life.
I know that. What
Sherry
Sharon
Lynn
to
says,
say?
we're curious about how Drogo is doing. Just give me a second on this one. This is a heavy one. She goes, Lori Wine Fun, Matilda Saddle, Slothopus, and Bearded Octosloth.
Wow.
Too much human dense intervention.
Yeah. Drogo's doing great. He's doing great.
Amazing.
Yeah, he's doing really good. It was great to be back to see him after a while. He seems to be in a good mood too lately, so he's doing good. Yesterday it was cool. We were open and he was just eating food. You know how it's so weird when they crawl on their, like he crawled onto the ledge and he looks like a freaking alien.
It's so crazy.
And, people were just watching him at the reptarium, chow down on food. So,
I was giving him a good pat and he was coming down to give me a good kiss.
Yeah, give you a kiss, yeah. But you got to just be careful to know, when to like, there's certain spots on him. Like, you can pet his head all day long. But if you pet, like, certain spots, he gets pissed off. Okay. He doesn't like certain parts of his body.
That's why you told me to pat that spot.
Yeah, I was like, pet there, right in front of his mouth. Pet his teeth.
Yeah.
Pet his teeth.
Sherry Lynn says, Lawson's Terrariums and Reptiles wants to thank you for your knowledge enough to start their own reptile shop in the future. And Thorny Devil drawing is hard.
Oh, I can imagine Thorny Devil drawing is hard. Like I said, I think my tattooer, Bob Tyrell, big shout out to Big Old Bob, Slow Bob, I should say. I think he'll have a heart attack if I come to him with a Thorny Devil.
What the hell?
He's going to be like, but he likes challenges, so I think he would probably be into it, to be honest with you.
I think so, too.
I think he'll be probably like, wow, this is going to be cool.
And they look so, like, he's like a dark artist, right? So, like, it looks so devilish and stuff.
I've got to find,
that head with the horns.
I got to find
We're just going to have to take it.
Yeah, we got to find the right picture.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah, we could take a picture.
No, seriously, I would love to do that. That'd be great.
Make it happen.
Yeah, it'd be good. We'll get out there.
Seaflow threw a message,
something.
but I didn't get to see it in time. It's retracted. So if he comes back, I will holler at you guys.
I thought I saw it first.
It was something about, hey, I'm coming back, definitely coming back next year.
VIP.
And then
VIP, something
Nice.
like that. That's what I saw, VIP. So definitely, I appreciate it, definitely. And I think that he said something about like discount or something like that is what I think he said. So I think pricing will be different next year too.
Okay,
we're going to probably, with the Animal Con USA is what I'm talking about. I think we'll probably make prices a little bit lower because I think the price point, although lower than other con events, might have still been a little bit too steep for a lot of people. And you got to remember, we didn't do that because we wanted to make a bunch of money. We did that because the event was very expensive.
Very expensive.
It was very expensive. About $300,000 to put the event on.
How much for renting a TV?
Yeah, I mean,
tell me that one.
Yeah, it was $300,000 to put the event on. So we had to, through sponsorships, the limited booth, because we sold limited booths. Yes. So at a normal show, for people that don't know, like you say, Tinley Park or a reptile show, how it typically works is that you would rent enough booths out that would pay for your expenses.
Roger.
And then you get sponsors that pay for your advertising. And then every person through the door is profit.
There's your money.
And so we spent $300,000. We did have some good sponsors, which we really appreciate. Zoom Ed, Tarantula Cribs, Timberline, Rodent Pro, Custom Cages, Seachay, and am I missing anybody else? If I am, I'm so sorry. But we had some great sponsors that helped us for sure. But then we only sold a very small number of booths because we didn't want to have a lot of booths, which next year will. So we like our sponsorship and booth sales covered about 25% of the cost of the show.
Right.
So we had to make money other ways, and we lost. Probably lose some money on some things, but next year we'll be able to sell more booths, which will relieve some of that pressure from us.
Roger that.
We can then pass that along on to customers. So maybe like a community pass that was $80 might be $60 next year.
Right.
And then a single day pass, instead of being $60, might be $35 or $40, something on that lines. And then the VIP will come down a little bit, and then the big pass was $500, maybe that'll be $350 or something like that. That gives everything. So we're going to try to make it a little bit more affordable for people as well, because we'll be able to structure the show in a way where we still won't sell enough booths to pay for everything, because that's impossible for what we're doing. But we'll have less risk involved and be able to reduce price, get more people through the door, and
bridge that gap a bit.
Yeah. So that's another change that'll happen, but that's still a conversation ongoing. I mean, again, I've been, it's been zipping in my mind for the last week. Crazy to think that last week we were at Animal Con right now.
Isn't it wild?
It's wild to think that it's been a week already. It's just a blur.
Crunched.
It's a blur, but we're, a year away from the next one. But, although I've been thinking about it a lot, I'm trying to take a little bit of a break from it, and
you'll have better ideas coming back refreshed. For sure.
And we've got a couple mellow days coming up. My birthday's Tuesday, by the way. Tuesday is my birthday, so I'm gonna go tomorrow evening to go take a day and a half off.
Yeah,
we all need that time to relax a little bit, and then I'll come back and start really working on two things I've got to work on. Obviously, the expansion. Which is I've got a meeting on Tuesday about that with some people, and then start to work on Animal Con again. So
you say you have some rest, but he was up till 11 o'clock last night, still thinking about Animal Con. How to improve, how to change, how to adapt, how to make things bigger and better.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't stopped since I left. To be honest with you, I think that Lori and everyone else has kind of like tried their best to put it out of their minds to get a little bit of a break.
Definitely.
But I haven't. It's my baby, you know what I mean? It's one of my babies, one of my mini babies. My babies. I got so many babies. I'm like Elon Musk. I got so many babies out there.
With different ladies
everywhere. I got babies from 15 different women. No, I don't. Seriously.
That's going to be clipped.
That's going to hurt.
That's getting on social media.
Love it.
But but I think it's a special event for me.
Yeah.
Again, it's like you were saying, Peter. You made connections with people that you're going to be doing stuff with in the future, whether they come to Australia, when you come here,
I've already had like half a dozen other influencers reach out. They come into Australia. They want to hook up, and maybe not in your way of hooking up, but
no, definitely in our way. Definitely.
Definitely. You don't know you don't know the reptile community. There's a lot of sex cults.
There's a lot of SCs out there.
There's a lot of sex cults out there.
Hook up and do some cool stuff, some cool collabs. So awesome.
And that's what I'm saying. That was the dream, right? And it was really cool to see, like, let's say Lights Camera Ants in Ants Canada. do a collab together that weekend.
Straight
they
up,
collabed, and
their animals that they use are a little bit smaller than ours.
Yeah, a little bit easier to do. Yeah,
and honestly, to be real with you guys, like one of the special things for me too with Animal Con was, I've met a lot of people with Brian in the last 3 years, and you guys have all came along for all those journeys, and to see all those people in one place at the same time was special enough, but then to see them meeting each other and forming relationships that, like you said, will last a lifetime is just one of the most incredible things. And I think everyone felt like that. It was like, wow, this is wild, And
what's going to be really crazy if it happens is that, like, Forrest Galante, I know of 4 or 5 people that he's actively talking with right now to pitch TV shows with.
Wow. Isn't that great?
And wouldn't it be crazy to see a TV show or 2 that was birthed at Animal Con?
And it will.
So we'll see Animal Planet or Discovery Channel, and we're going to think like, man, that relationship was birthed at our event.
And if it wasn't for that event, wouldn't have that show.
That's right.
Yeah,
it would never happen.
So it's going to be wild to see and that's just year 1.
Exactly.
Let's wait till year 10, year 15.
He's going to have 50 people knocking on his door.
I mean, I sure hope that, Mike, you guys know me. I'm very motivated and I'm very, very driven. I mean, I hope that I hope Animal Con is part of my life for the rest of my life. I hope that once a year we're doing an Animal Con for the rest of my life. I hope that, just like I think the same way with the Reptarium and the expansion and stuff like that. These aren't things I'm going to retire from. You know what I mean? This is a passion.
Is your life. Yeah.
This is my passion, and I hope I'll be 90 years old, still, opening
putting
up
around. Yeah,
still open. What is Savannah calling me? I'm on the podcast.
No, let's answer it.
Okay. Can I Bluetooth this in?
I can try.
This is going to get serious.
Okay, hang on a second here.
Savannah, before you come on, you got
shit.
to use your indoor voice.
turned the Bluetooth on, so if you see
Savannah.
it.
Hang on a second. Before let me get this a second here. Bluetooth. Where am I at? Rodecaster Pro. I'm going to connect first.
All right, looks like you're connected.
Okay. All right, I'm calling her now.
Good luck.
I think.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you called.
Oh my gosh, she didn't answer.
That's her thing?
That's her thing.
What a butthole. You still have
hang on.
Oh, it's coming.
Hello? Hang on a second. Hey, let me call you back 1 second. Okay, hang on a second.
We're going to get this, guys. We're going to get out there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, hang on a
It's
second.
going to happen.
This is going to be it.
Technological genius back there, Jay.
It's connected.
Me. You're the man. They call me Tech Man.
Tech Man.
Hang on a second.
All right.
She's coming.
Hey!
Savannah, you are on the podcast right now, so just so you know.
What's
Savannah.
happening, good looking?
Oh, Dingo is on. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my
Dingo
goodness.
Savannah is in the house. How are you guys doing?
We're just killing it and sweating our butts off in Orlando.
Oh, my gosh.
It's nice and cozy here.
Oh, it's nice and chilly. It's about 79 degrees. No humidity. It's beautiful.
No fire ants.
Yeah, but you've got an Aussie in the podcast. That's going to ruin things a little bit.
Mate.
But now he has us.
I know. Now I have the real stars of the show. We're just going to... So me and Peter are going to take a break. You guys take over, okay?
Yeah, we're out of here.
Hello, everyone. How's it going?
Hey, y'all.
Got to speak slower.
Don't forget
I don't
about
understand
me.
Afrikaans.
Don't forget
The
about
arse
me.
is gone and the class has arrived, everyone. We hope you're doing well. All the way from a sticky Orlando. We're standing outside now.
I don't understand. All the viewers are dropping off, Dingo. Please stop talking.
Hey, listen. That video you put up today, Brian, was fire. It was so good.
It's a killer.
It was. I laughed a lot. Jay
Pretty
and
funny,
Noah
man.
worked really hard. Jay worked super hard on it and did a great job. Noah just polished it just a little bit, but most of the work was Jay. And
Thanks, guys.
And it was. It was
Thank
super good.
God, Peter. You should be thanking Jay.
What?
Yeah, because he didn't make you look like a fool.
Are you kidding me?
It makes you look like a rock star.
Mate.
Yeah, did you guys see that the community tab on YouTube said Australia won?
Yes.
No, we don't follow that.
No
But
way.
I saw the comments on the video. We all know who won that one.
But did you
Yeah,
see?
Dingo definitely won the comments.
America
Yeah.
didn't get a notice at all.
Shut up. You're crazy.
No.
Everybody was like, Santa is the most energetic and American alligators rule.
Yeah, it's true. A lot of people were commenting about Savannah.
I don't know.
The sad part is that we had me, Kyle, Noah,
Will Mays.
Yeah, Will Mays, Noah, Jay, and we got zero. Yeah, we got zero. Yeah, Mike. We had zero. We had Savannah and Dingo. That was it. That was the comment section.
There we go. That's how it should be. Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, we are rock stars. Like right now, we're just chilling out on my balcony, overlooking the pool, watching lizards and snakes. Today, we fed watermelons to all the crocodiles.
What? Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
That's great.
Wowzers.
If you think I'm bad with a rabbit feeding a crocodile, you should see me as a watermelon. And now a crocodile almost bit me on the ankle because I bowled it right over her body.
Oh my gosh, geez. I tell you, Dingo, I thought you were more of a crocodile guy. You should stick with venomous snakes. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna become a crocodile guy.
Dude, we seriously thought he was gonna get his legs and feet ripped off today.
Oh, come on.
Well,
It was, you know it was.
it may be an improvement.
It's close to last. It'll probably be an improvement.
You can hop along, man.
Is it time for you to go home now, Ozzy?
Oh, come on, brother. Don't be like that.
I think your time is coming.
What are you going to do when I turn up at your place in March or April? I don't know.
Yeah, we're going April.
Oh, are you coming too?
No,
Yeah, I might as well. I'll just fly there now, actually.
Border security will keep him out.
I'm super excited about this trip to South Africa together. We're just gonna rip South Africa apart.
I tell you what,
it's impossible.
Dingo.
Literally, this is going to be one of the most epic trips ever, and I cannot wait to document every minute. Well, not every minute, because there's probably going to be some minutes we're going to probably cut out,
but it'll be documented.
Out.
The uncensored version.
Yeah. The GSC's
I've got some fans.
GSC's coming to Africa.
GSC is coming to Africa.
What?
Oh no! No! Oh dear!
It's going to be awkward.
Well, listen, guys, thanks for calling. I love you guys beyond belief, and you guys are amazing. And Dingo, safe travels home. I'll talk to you soon, brother. As soon as you get back.
And to all the listeners, Brian Barczyk, you are a legend.
Yes, you
and
are.
a scholar, mama.
Yes, you are.
Legend.
All right, guys.
Legendary.
All people I know in the reptile industry all put together. Like, you could put all their good qualities together. Brian, you got them all, and you are the most loyal and dear friend. Like, I just love you so much.
Well, thank you, guys. I appreciate you, and I feel the same about both you guys. And Savannah, you know how much I love you, so I appreciate you. And enjoy the sunny, beautiful Florida, sticky Florida. We're going to enjoy the nice, cool night here.
Beautiful weather.
Sit around a fire and hang out. So we will see you guys soon, all right?
All right, bye.
I'll see you guys. Bye.
Bye now.
How epic was that?
That's a podcast.
That's crazy.
That was epic. Do we have anything else before we go?
Yeah, let me see. We got Carl Smith says, what does Peter think of the crossbreeding of carpets to bredli, or does he prefer keeping the lines clean?
Yeah, I'm not a hybrid guy. So spoke about that early today, that the hobby's so closed that I guess a lot of people think by breeding hybrids, and I guess the thing is we're breeding them for color morphs.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get the colours into everything we can, but we're hybridizing.
Yeah.
I don't personally do it. I can see the beauty in what they do. I don't think there's any long-term benefits, but that's just my personal opinion.
Those albino bredli, though, man.
Oh, yeah, they're smoking. They're smoking.
Are they nuts, huh?
Did you see them?
I'm going to look this up, because bredlis are my favorite.
Albino bredli. Dude, they're ridiculous. Albino
they're crazy. I mean, that's probably one of the ones I'd look at and go, oh, but
I mean,
oh my God, dude. This one. Yeah, you have showed me before.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm glad that the picture was perfect.
Yeah, that's a
one.
great picture right there.
Great
picture.
Look at that. Look at that one right there. That's
this one or this one up here?
The one you just were on. What's this?
Newly hatched albino bredli. All these pictures are perfect. Australia needs to get some new cameras. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they haven't got out of the dark age yet.
That can't be real, right? That's not real.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
That thing's insane.
That looks like a Brettles Jag.
Yeah, that's got Jag in it, bro.
Yeah, Brettles Jag. So wow.
I wish this picture showed up good, because this is like
It's pretty good though. I mean, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. That's a beautiful snake right there.
Yeah, so Joe Ball was the first guy producing these guys. Yeah.
Same thing he did with the Easterns and Northern.
True.
Taliqua, right?
Yep.
But they made him stronger and better, right? So, yeah.
And then the last one I got is Sherry Lynn says, happy birthday on Tuesday, Brian.
Thank you so much. Pew, pew, pew. Thank you. It's going to be a great birthday. I'm going to have a great time. I'm going to be here filming. We're going to wrap up a really dope video on Tuesday. It's going to, should I tell him?
Yeah, you could tell.
Okay.
These are
So it's going to be the first, it's going to be teams, 3 different teams, Lori, myself, Jay and Noah, and Mike and Connie are going, and the first to get to 50 people, 50 strangers to hold the snake wins. So we have to go out and find 50 strangers to hold a snake. And
who do you guys think will win?
The first team to get to 50 strangers wins.
Who's going out? Jay and Noah?
Jay and Noah.
Ooh, I don't know. I might have my money on those guys.
They're
charismatic.
Yeah,
I don't even need to hear the rest of the rest of the teams.
I think Jay. I think that our experience, Lori and I are gonna dominate.
Yeah, because you guys will calm people more too. You know.
So we've been around, man. We've been around. Yeah,
you just said touch, right? They just got to touch.
Hold. Got to hold. It's got to be. It's like a Burmese python.
So if you just flip it around their neck and they're holding it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it.
Well, I think my nephews will do well.
See.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I think you're good. I think they're gonna. They'll do good. They'll do good, but not as good as us.
They'll do well. We'll see how they go.
We'll see.
Brianna says, "When do we hear more about this expansion? Much love."
Now that I'm back from Animal Con, that took up so much of my time.
Now it's on that.
Now a lot of my attention will be on expanding. So
soon.
So yeah. I mean, I've got a meeting on Tuesday that will clarify some things. And then, lots of moving parts over the next couple weeks. You'll hear more. I promise you soon.
Green light.
Yeah, red light, green light. So, anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you. Thank you, Dingo and Savannah for popping in. Thank you, Peter, for coming all the way from Australia. Make sure to follow Peter on all his socials. CrittaCam. We'll go ahead and put a link down in the description and stuff like that. So I love you guys. Thank you for everything, and we will see you next week.
Perfect.
Good night.